no matter where you are located, all right? So, yeah, let's see here. We got, here's Mediaite. Trump secretly ditched Air Force One for military plane amid assassination threat. President Donald Trump was secretly whisked off Air Force One in an airport catering truck and flown out of Turkey aboard a different military aircraft last month after officials identified a credible Iranian assassination threat, according to a bombshell report from the Washington Post. The elaborate operation took place on July 8th. I can't believe it's been a month already. As Trump departed following a NATO summit one day after the U.S. renewed military strikes on Iran, while the White House publicly maintained that Trump traveled to Britain aboard the Legacy Air Force One, not his gifted Qatari jet, the president was actually aboard an Air Force C-32A modified Boeing 757, the Washington Post reported. While the Trump administration initially said the president was switching planes to the original Air Force One to show off his Qatari gifted jet to U.S. troops stationed in the UK, the New York Times later reported that the move was prompted by security concerns. And by the way, they got a leaker. These were security concerns because of a leaker who leaked classified intelligence about the capabilities of the new Air Force One, and he was busted over the weekend. It was Joe Biden's Secretary of the Air Force was caught as the leaker. As the Post article details, Trump first boarded the familiar blue and white Air Force One in view of television cameras. Minutes later, however, Trump and several aides secretly exited through another door and entered an airport catering truck that had been raised to the aircraft. The truck then transported them to a smaller C-32A, leaving journalists and some White House staff aboard Air Force One unaware that Trump was no longer with them. One U.S. official described the plane carrying the press and staff as a decoy. I love it. And then when President Trump switched to Air Force One in the UK and he came out and did that press gaggle, and he said my shades weren't down. Well, now we know why. Defense Secretary, no, it's Secretary of War, Mediaite, okay? Get up to speed on the new lingo. Pete Hegseth separately boarded the C-32A and traveled with Trump to Britain, according to the report. How cool that was. I wonder if, was Trump and Hegseth, were they both in the catering cart hidden? The secret flight reportedly used the nondescript call sign Reach 18, while the Legacy plane carrying reporters and staff eventually appeared on flight trackers as AF-1, despite Trump not being on board. The operation was reportedly triggered by credible Iran-linked threats against Trump or his aircraft amid heightened tensions between Washington and Tehran. It goes on. The White House continued the ruse after Trump arrived in Britain, posting that he had landed aboard the former Air Force One. Trump was seen descending from the aircraft before later boarding the new Air Force One. Asked that night why reporters had been ordered to close their window shades before leaving Turkey, Trump cited the danger posed by U.S. adversaries. But if I go, you go, right? Trump told reporters. Perhaps someday you'll want to change professions. Oh, my goodness. He's got a great sense of humor about it, too. Oh, my goodness. The press are pissed off. But you know what? So what? They're always pissed off at President Trump, aren't they? Absolutely. Oh, man. I tell you, the left. You know, the media always hate who the Republican presidents are when they're in office, right? You know, Ronald Reagan, George Bush II. They always hate. But with this guy, it's different. With President Trump, it's just different. And I don't know at this point, because, you know, President Trump's been on the scene for like going on 12 years now. Can you imagine? We've had over a decade of we've had over a decade of President Trump on the scene, and their hatred now, I think it's more habit than anything. In the beginning, what it was is the media were out of the loop. The media like to be the kingmakers and involved in who becomes president and wins nominations. So the original wave of the media hatred of President Trump was about they weren't involved in the decision. The American people went around them, and we decided President Trump was going to be our president. And that's where the original wave of hatred came. But now I just think they've been doing it so long, and over a decade, most of their career has been in this Trump derangement haze, and it's a very bad habit that the media have right now. And we have less than a minute until the radio show begins. If you'd like to call in, you're more than welcome to do so. The number's toll free, 888-465-2631. It's a toll free call no matter where you're located. All opinions are welcome on the program, and all the calls are unvetted and completely screenless. When you call in, nobody answers the phone. You're just put on hold, and when you hear me say, "What's your name? Where are you calling from?" that's the first time anyone knows who's on the line. So the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631, and the number is pinned in the live chat, all right? So your opinions on this certainly are welcome. We have about 10 seconds, and the radio show will begin. Stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and you, of course, are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Oh, boy, we have a lot of news to cover today, a lot. So stay tuned. I got a lot to cover between now and 9 a.m. But the big story today is this assassination attempt on the president to shoot down Air Force One when he was leaving Turkey. We find out now the president, the Secret Service, they did something pretty cool. They were able to sneak the president off of Air Force One and out of Turkey. And, of course, the left are very upset. And the media are even more upset than that. Let me read this story. This is from the Daily Mail. President Donald Trump was smuggled off Air Force One in a catering truck last month as part of an elaborate ruse to foil potential Iranian assassin threats. The commander-in-chief was on his way back from a NATO summit in Turkey when he was bundled off the jet, boarded to a separate military plane, according to the fake news New York Times. Trump had traveled to Turkey aboard the new Air Force One, but as the summit concluded, Trump announced he would not take the newly outfitted Air Force One and would instead board an older model, the original that's out there, rather than the plane that flew him there. Trump was then filmed and photographed boarding the older Air Force One in Turkey, which was bound for that U.S. base in the UK. However, officials familiar with all of this reported ruse told the New York Times that President Trump covertly entered a food cart that had been fitted to the belly of the plane amid threats from Iranians. The president's food cart was then loaded onto an airport catering truck, which transported him to a smaller Air Force C-32A plane, according to the Washington Post. The plot reportedly fooled journalists and even some White House staffers who were aboard the decoy Air Force One. In the video from the tarmac obtained by the Washington Post, President Trump could be seen waving to the cameras as he heads to the older plane, before a truck is seen maneuvering towards the steps of the new C-32A. The video shows a man in a suit entering the catering truck's cab. A container is then loaded into the bed of the catering truck and pulls away from the the old Air Force One. President Trump was inside of the catering container, and apparently so was Pete Hegseth. The container had notably been lifted to the level of the plane for several minutes. When the container was lowered, a person stepped inside the truck's cab. Moments later, Pete Hegseth was seen boarding the C-32 separately using regular stairs. Okay, so he wasn't in the catering cart. He actually walked onto the separate plane, Pete Hegseth. Pretty cool. And they had Pete Hegseth do that to make it look like a typical flight. Journalists who boarded the old Air Force One plane, believing the president was aboard, were instructed to close their window shades because you don't want the lights. The plane carrying the journalists took off with the air control sign Air Force One, which is technically only meant for a plane with which the president is on board. Meanwhile, the C-32A flight and Hegseth were on used the call sign Reach 18, according to the Washington Post. Reach signs are typically used for personal transport flights and those that haul military equipment. After the two planes landed in the UK, Trump was smuggled from the C-32A to the Legacy Air Force One, and then was seen descending the stairs of Air Force One. This is pretty cool, isn't it? It's like out of a Tom Clancy novel, out of a movie. This is super cool. Then President Trump got on the new Air Force One. Then he talked to the journalist. When asked why reporters were ordered to lower their window shades on the plane in Turkey, Trump said it was because you're probably on a dangerous flight, because of the sleaze bags that we have to deal with. He then added he has a threat all the time on his life, and that he is the number one on Iran's list. Tehran had been, okay, it goes on to that. But anyway, this, and there's video and photographs of this. Now, the container that they loaded the president in, I don't want you to think it was a container like you see flight attendants, stewardesses go down the aisle with. It was a food truck container that's like the size of the whole truck that they put on the, that they put him in. So it wasn't like he was in this tiny little food cart that has little bottles of liquor on top of it and cans of Coke and stuff, you know. This is a pretty cool thing, I got to tell you. I'm all choked up today. I apologize, guys. Let me have a drink of my coffee, which dehydrates you, but it's liquid. But it really shows you the threat level that President Trump is under. And each and every day, President Trump is risking his life for this country. Okay? He's taken a bullet for this country. There's been more assassination attempts against him than any other president in history. In fact, he has more assassination attempts against him than all the other presidents combined. I have never heard of anything like this happening, some ruse to sneak the president around, except in a case of like Kennedy, when they're sneaking him around so they can hook up and have sex with you know, Marilyn Monroe or something. This is the first time I've ever heard of something like this. And it really shows you the greatness of this great man who's our president and what he has to live through. And he's going to have to live like this the rest of his life. All right, let's take some calls. Your thoughts, I have a lot to cover today. Your thoughts on this most definitely are welcome. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Doc from Texas.
Yeah, Doc, what's up?
Hey, man, how are you this morning?
I'm doing all right.
All right. Hey, first of all, I don't even know what to say no more about the incident with the president in Turkey. Honestly, I just don't know no more. Because it could get to the point now to where somebody will have to step in and say, you know what, before something crazy happens, we're going to have to slow this down.
Well, the threats are coming. The threats against President Trump, in this particular instance, it came from Iran, but these other threats on him are coming from the Democrats and the Never-Trumpers.
Fine. Stop. It's coming from Iran.
This one was Iran, yes.
Stop. No, the Democrats don't want to hurt Trump. That's your problem now. Everything's Democrat. No, Brian, it's Iran.
Oh, okay. So let me get this straight. Okay, I'm interested in what you're saying here. So what you're saying is that Iran, with these assassination attempts, they're committing acts of war against the United States. Right?
Iran.
Yeah, these are
What are we going to do about it right now? What are we going to do?
Well, what do you do when an act? No, we've been bombing them. So you're
not doing anything.
You're justifying the bombing campaign because
we need to get to the table.
What?
Hello?
You want to sit at a table and have discussions with people that are trying to kill our president? Why would you legitimize them that way?
What else are we going to do? We keep
blow them up.
Keep hitting us. We hit them.
Blow them up.
It's nothing is happening, Brian.
Blow them up. That's what you do.
Blow up.
The Iranians, who you said are trying to kill the president.
What Iranians?
The ones that are trying to. The ones that you just said. The ones that you just said are trying to kill the president.
Who?
The Iranian government.
So do you know who's in charge of the Iranian government right now?
President Trump and his people do.
So get them, believe the innocent Iranian people. Leave them alone.
Well, you just said that the Iranians are trying to kill the president. So how are they
They're
innocent?
innocent.
Well, how
So
are they innocent if they're
so-
trying to kill the
You know what?
president?
So you want to kill Iranian children?
I didn't say children.
That's what you mean.
You told me that the Iranians are behind these assassination plots against the president, right?
Yeah, some Iranian people. That
So
are
is
crazy.
that
But
an
why would you
act
wanna
is
kill
that
Iranian children?
is that an act of war?
So do you want to kill Iranian children?
You know, Doc, your usefulness as a caller expired like so
No,
long
it's
ago.
great. So do
I
you
know
wanna
it
kill
really
Iranian children?
has. You're saying stupid things. Get off the phone.
I'm not-
Get off the phone. Here he is defending. He's defending Iran now, right? First he says they're trying to kill President Trump, and then he tries to defend them. All right, we'll take our first break. You're certainly welcome to call about this. I have a lot of stories that I'm going to cover, and you're very much welcome to comment on this, but I am going to get into some other stories after the break as well. The number's toll-free, wherever you're listening, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are located. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Every day brings new possibilities, an opportunity to create, an opportunity to discover something that adds a little more inspiration to your life. At Inventora, every collection begins with a simple idea. Wonderful discoveries should be exciting, memorable, and accessible. Thousands of possibilities are waiting to be explored. The next one could be yours. Begin your journey at Inventora.com. ENVICTORA.com. Inventora, inspired by possibility. Interior designers understand an important truth. Furniture shapes the way a room feels. The right dining table invites conversation. The right bed frame transforms a bedroom into a retreat. This philosophy guides every collection at Claritin. Carefully selected furniture pieces combine timeless elegance with modern design, helping you create spaces that feel luxurious and unmistakably your own. Discover the collection at Claritin.com. Clarityn.com. Claritin, designed for the way you live. Every day brings new pressures, new uncertainties, and new reasons to worry. But what if peace isn't found by controlling every situation? What if it's found by learning to trust God more deeply? Author E. Betts offers a practical Bible-centered guide for anyone struggling with anxiety, fear, or the weight of life's uncertainties in Trust, a scripture-forward guide to peace. Available on Amazon, filled with encouraging scripture, simple prayers, journaling prompts, as well as practical faith-building exercises. This is a book you'll return to whenever life is overwhelming. Whether you're facing difficult decisions, unexpected challenges, or simply longing for a calmer heart, Trust points you back to the unchanging promises of God and reminds you that His peace is greater than your circumstances. If you're ready to replace worry with confidence and fear with faith, order your copy of Trust, a scripture-forward guide to peace from author E. Betts on Amazon. Your journey towards lasting peace can begin right now.
Okay, we are still in radio break. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, I got to fix my screen here. Hold on. There we go. Oh, no, it's on this side. Hold on. A little behind the scenes, guys, a little behind the scenes. We got just over a minute and we'll be back. If you would like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat, and if you're on hold, hang in there, okay? We'll get to the calls shortly. All right, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You know, the threats against this president. I mean, I've never seen a president who was hated for doing so much good. Right? What is President Trump doing that would have any American hating him like this? It just doesn't make sense. You listen to these liberals, and it's just incoherent. All right, we have less than a minute, and we'll be back. So if you're on hold, hang in there. No, all opinions are welcome. If you disagree with me, you're welcome to call in. Yep. 30 seconds and we'll be back. I've got other things I want to cover, but we'll get to this first. Yes. Less than 20 seconds. Hang in there. 10 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben from Pompano. How you
Hey,
doing?
Ben. What's up?
Hey. Yeah, I think the celebrity that you gave Doc has gone to his head, and now he feels obligated to call, and even when he doesn't have any material, or he just wants to be like the opposition. He's like the heel in like WWE wrestling. He just wants, he wants the attention. So I'm glad you called him out on that.
Yeah.
But as far as the Iranian issue goes, honestly, the only reason we're talking about it is because opposition media is doing the work of Iran, because they know that they can look at polls too, and they can demoralize, and they have nothing other than propaganda since their military is completely destroyed. But if the opposition media was not constantly talking about it, it wouldn't even occur to people. The only reason people have strong opinion, when I voted for Donald Trump, I defer the decision making for these kind of issues to him. This could be going on quietly in the background and no one would care. I only think it's as big as an issue as it is because the media is constantly asking him questions because they know it's tearing apart some people. I wouldn't say actually true MAGA people in the base, but some of these losers who are like, oh, I voted for Trump 3 times and no more wars for Israel.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't an issue. Just let the man cook, let him do what he's going to do, and we don't have to talk about this every single day. But because the opposition media knows it creates friction, they bring it up nonstop. Even Iranians do it because they put up these stupid Lego videos on X.
Mm-hmm.
As they're getting bombed into the Stone Age. It's the most pathetic.
Well, I think what they've done is united. I think the country is very united. Hold on, when I answer all these lines coming in, I think the country is very united against in favor of President Trump. Don't you? Oh, I got my lines mixed up. They've united us against them.
The Iranians.
Yeah, the Iranians and the media have united the American people against them, and they don't see it. They don't get it. The country is very united right now. That's why they're having. That's why they're. I mean, look, they're trying to purge the Democrats are trying to lose the midterms so they can purge these Democrats socialist. Trump is really a uniter of a president, not a divider.
The socialists. I don't know. There was that bill that came out. There was a statement, and only that claimed the most basic American things, which is we stand for a strong border, we're for free markets, and we don't want to abolish the police. And only 8 Democrats signed that.
Mm-hmm.
I really think a lot of these Democrats, like Chuck Schumer, I think they're scared of the DSA. These people are insane radicals. The name is a complete misnomer. They're not democratic socialists, even as bad as democratic socialists are. They're subversives. They're straight up anti-American subversives. They should be charged it's straight up treason. They're enemies. I don't know what you would call them, but they're more domestic terrorists than anything that we've ever been accused of by the media. These people want to abolish everything that makes us American, and they support Iran.
Yes.
They support Iran. They think Hamas are freedom fighters. Everything they have is inverted.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about that.
But on a final note, back to Doc. I mean, Doc is really his usefulness is just is expired. He's not interesting.
He was fun. It was fun at first.
Yeah.
I understand the reason for having him call, but now when he doesn't have anything and he literally calls in and every point he brings up you shoot down immediately, but he continues to just ignore that, not even acknowledge how wrong he is and just spew stuff out of his mind. I don't know.
He's not. I don't think he's adding to the quality of the program. I think at this point he's taking away the quality of the program, from it.
I appreciate constructive opposition.
Yeah, of course.
But he he just calls and says, nuh-uh, not the case.
Why?
Like, yeah,
Why,
I'm
Brian?
not
Why,
sure.
Brian? Yeah. Leave him alone, Brian. Leave
Yeah.
him alone.
I know. So anyway,
Limited
that's all I wanted to
vocabulary.
say.
All right, I appreciate the call, Ben from Pompano. If you're on hold, stand by. Now, Abdul, who makes have you seen these videos that Abdul makes? He looks like he's trying out to be on Glee, all these musical theater things he's doing. And I've never seen a man dance like he does, singing Whitney Houston music. It's very strange, you know. And I've seen him in two videos. He's both singing the women's songs from the female point of view, and I don't know guys that move their hips and everything like that. But anyway, here's another clip of Abdul talking about football.
Football is very much associated with a particularly masculine and oftentimes toxically masculine culture, and so much of it was about you wanted to be able to get back up and play for your team, and you really aren't allowed to show pain or vulnerability. That's part of the sport.
What's called being a man. Talking about what was the term he used?
Very much associated with a particularly masculine and
Masculine, toxic masculine culture. What kind of straight guy talks about football being part of toxic masculine culture? I don't know any straight guys that talk that way. That's just weird talk, isn't it? Toxic masculine culture, football. And he's talking about American football, not soccer, right? There's a lot of things about this guy that are just weird. These music videos that he does, looking like he's on an episode of Glee. Football is toxic masculinity. I understand those are liberal words, but toxic masculinity those are words and phrases used by not straight guys, used by women and non-straight men, right? That's typically where those things come from. But Abdul's doing a great service to this country, and that he's truly exposing the left. The left in this country, the Democrat Party, is on life support right now. They're about to fade out of existence. And he is a large part of the reason for that. So I've got a lot to cover on today's program. You're not going to want to miss any of it because we're going to cover quite a bit. When we get back from the break, we'll take more of your calls, all right? The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to take a moment to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Make no mistake about it, this is hurricane season, often referred to as rainy season. It's the same thing. And if you're in the state of Florida, you know what I'm talking about. Hurricanes, rains, you want to be prepared. And your first line of defense during hurricane season is your roof. If you have a leak in your roof, you are not in a safe home during a hurricane, because that leak means you have loose shingles, loose tiles. And what that is an entryway for those winds to rip the roof off your home. And even if we don't have a hurricane, but we have a strong a thunderstorm, you're still getting huge wind gusts that reach tropical storm level. And when those wind gusts comes through, it loosens that tile, loosens that shingle more and more and more. And when that storm comes through, the roof is off to Kansas, right? It's not good. You want to get it taken care of. And if you're either on the east or west coast of Florida, okay, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing can help. He covers both the Atlantic coast all the way across to the Gulf of America coast and everywhere in between. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. Remember, he can handle the job of any size, whether it's one home, one office building, one municipal building, or an HOA that has over 450 units. He can handle it. And Tom Laporta is not just a roofer, he's also a contractor, which allows him under Florida law to deal directly with your property insurance company on the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof. Again, call or text Tom Laporta on his cell phone, 954 604 4602. 954 604 4602. 954 604 4602. And online, laportaroofing.com. We'll be right back.
Are you feeling trapped by your timeshare? You're not alone, but finding the right exit company can be confusing and overwhelming. That's where FreedomShareSolutions.com comes in. FreedomShare Solutions is a timeshare referral company dedicated to helping connect you with the right professionals in your unique situation. FreedomShare Solutions have helped trusted referral companies and do the research for you, so you don't have to spend countless hours trying to figure out who to trust. Best of all, Freedom Share Solutions is commission-based. That means they don't get paid unless you're successful in exiting your timeshare. Their success depends on yours. If you're ready to take the first step toward freedom from your timeshare, let FreedomShareSolutions.com point you in the right direction. FreedomShareSolutions.com, helping put you on the path to freedom from your timeshare. FreedomShareSolutions.com. What if you could understand the Bible as one complete story? From creation to Jesus to the fulfillment of end times prophecy. Now you can with engaging, eye-opening Bible study live streams where scripture comes together in a clear, easy-to-follow way that will deepen your understanding of God's Word. Discover how the events unfolding in today's world fit into the bigger picture God revealed throughout the Bible. Explore biblical prophecy and what it says about the future. Compare God's truth with Satan's deception. Examine the evidence for creation versus evolution and gain fresh insight into the people, places, and promises found throughout Scripture. Whether you're new to Bible study or have been reading the Bible your entire life, these live streams will help you connect the dots, strengthen your faith, and better understand the times we're living in. Don't miss this opportunity to grow in your knowledge of God's Word. Join these life-changing Bible study live streams right now. Find the link in the description of this episode. Share the link on all your social media so your friends can join you too. Again, the link is in the description of this episode. Look in the description and click it right now.
Yeah, guys, do me a favor. That Bible study link is in the description. There's live streams a couple times a week. Please click that link in the description for the Bible study. The person that put it together is a regular watcher and listener of the program, and they're supporting me. So if you could support them by clicking that link in the description and checking out their Bible study videos, I would greatly appreciate it. Yep, you look at the description, it says Bible study, and then there's the link. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. The number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I'll go back to the phones, and I got a lot more to bring up as well. And the number is pinned in the live chat if you'd like to call in. All right, we've got 15 seconds, guys. Hang in there. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, it's Sean again from California.
Hey, Sean in California. What's up?
Yeah, I just realized something. I called you like once a week in the past month, and then my calls keeps getting dropped, and then I just realized the last time I called you why I was getting dropped.
Well, you're here now.
Actually, it was my potty mouth.
That'll do it. Yes, you use profane. Oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, you can't use profanity. I remember you now. Only because of the profanity.
I know. I thought I was just getting cut off.
Well, maybe no. If you have a difficulty with profanity, speak slower, and choose your words carefully.
No, it's all good. Because I didn't know. I just didn't realize.
That's okay.
It was the reason. Anyway, it's good to talk to you again. Regarding these people that are like coming out of the woodwork, this communism thing. See, I think I have a theory, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty right about it. Like these people, this labeling of communism, socialism, I always thought it was just a facade. It's a pretense to gaining power. They're not really communists. I don't think they are, because if you like break down their positions and their like rhetoric, it's not really communism. And it's the same as communism before.
Well, no, okay.
They use
Now slow
that.
down for a second. And let's talk about this. I'm glad you called because it gives me an opportunity to transist into the next topic I was going to get into after this conversation. But you can join it with me, okay? Right now, there's three types of Democrats in the country that are involved with running for office. The first are the Democrat establishment, the old guard of the Democrat Party, of which AOC has joined, which I'll get into that later on the program. But the regular old guard Democrat establishment. Then you have two groups in this Democrat Socialist of America. One group of them are a bunch of loser communists because they're just bums and losers that many of them live with their parents, right? And then there's another group that are like Abdul in Michigan, who are Muslims that are in the Democrat Party and Democrat Socialists because they want to destroy the United States from within. They're a Trojan horse trying to get elected from office. So you got three groups. You've got the Democrat establishment, then you got the communist losers, and then you've got the Muslims that are in the Democrat Party trying to destroy us. That's what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about, because I know it's a Trojan horse thing. After 9/11, I think these people knew that they could never fight the U.S. the way they wanted to, like with like that type of like invasion.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. So they realized that, you know, the Americans have a vulnerability when it comes to like, you know, the freedom, because we have freedom, we have compassion, we have
That's right.
you know, kindness and all that stuff. So what they do is, that's why I'm saying this all of the time. None of them are really communists. Either you're really stupid or you have an ulterior motive, and I know what the ulterior motive is, because as of now we have what, like 80,000 terrorist cells in the U.S.
Oh, I don't know. A lot. I mean, there's
Something like
80,000.
that.
Did you say 80,000? There's that many?
I think it's that's the last statistic I read.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah, somewhere between like 80,000 of them come from terrorist cells.
Wow.
And I think the Muslim Brotherhood or whatever they are, you know, these kind of people, I think they figured out how to infiltrate America by doing this. So they're gonna you know, kiss butt, if that's not profanity. You know, they're gonna kiss butt with the other factions that are, you know, they're not.
Yeah. Well, what happened with like the Abduls, the Muslims that are trying. Mamdani got elected as mayor of New York on a lark, right? There was a lot of things factored into that. It was a very unique situation, and they misread the room, and they see Mamdani's election as a mandate that people want Muslims that are Democrat Socialist in office. So they think this is their opportunity. Americans are afraid of Muslims. 9/11, the Iran hostage situation, Americans are afraid of Muslims and don't trust them. Now, you know, whether that's justified or not is up for debate, but it's the way it is. That's it. That's how people feel in this. That's how Americans feel, and they misread Mamdani's election.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they misread the significance of Mamdani being elected mayor of New York.
Yeah, but you know, it's not even Islamophobia. It's a valid reason for you to be scared with these people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're literally saying it to your face. You know, like, we want to end the Constitution, we want to change it, or we want to, you know, we want to disrupt or just destroy everything about America and its structure and its government and its beliefs and other stuff. That's how you do it. Before you can change it, the moment you destroy it, then you know, these Islamist extremists will enter. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
Abdul is an extremist. He's a Muslim extremist. You know, the Democrat Socialist of America party platform calls for the elimination of the presidency and the Senate and of the Supreme Court and the judiciary. keep the House of Representatives, and that'll run the country. They're calling for the overthrow of the government of the United States.
Yeah,
That's treason.
it is, and it doesn't isn't that funny that these people are the people who are supporting them doesn't even realize how dangerous that is.
It's very dangerous.
Like, I'm from a different country, and I wasn't always a fan of what America is doing because, it affects me too in a way, even if I was there.
Yes.
But now I live here, so.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. But then I realized that if America just crumbles to the ground, and then there's going to be a power vacuum. Who do you expect is going to be there?
Exactly.
To inherit.
If if any other country in the world did not exist today, most countries people wouldn't even notice, right? But if the United States disappeared, the entire world would collapse. The economy of the world would collapse. The stability that we have would collapse, and the world would break out in economic disaster and war. The United States stabilizes the entire planet.
Yeah, and then who do you expect who's gonna take over? Europe? Europe is irrelevant. They have nothing.
No.
They have nothing. So
No.
the one that's gonna rise into power is either Russia or China. Either of those two.
Well, you would have a war. What would happen if the United States was not here? Russia and China, and who knows who else? But there would be a world war for dominance. Is what would happen, right? The countries of the world that have nuclear weapons would go to war with each other and destroy the world. Think about it. We had 2 world wars just a couple decades apart. We have not had a world war in 80 years. There's been skirmishes, but not a major conflict. And the reason that there hasn't, with all these nuclear weapons everywhere, is because the United States brings about stability. And that's why there has not been another world war and there hasn't been a nuclear war.
Yeah, exactly. And then the funny, the scariest part is none of these people who have like the nuclear power and who's poised to have control if America crumbles is that none of them are democratic. Mm-hmm. None of them have freedom. None of them have the American Constitution where your rights are actually protected by the Constitution.
Exactly.
None.
Exactly. Well, do you find it difficult to speak without using profanity? Because this is your first call where you didn't use any.
No, I'm careful now because I didn't know before. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay
now you do.
I'm okay with it.
Now you do. All right. All right. Take care.
That's too longer. Thank you, man.
All right. Take care. All right. Our number is 888-465-2630. Yeah, he's called a couple of times, and he's a good caller with a lot to contribute, unlike Doc. And in the middle of interesting sentences, all of a sudden he would drop some profanity that we can't let out, so we have to disconnect the call and dump it. So it's I could tell he took my advice. He spoke slower, didn't he? But all that's true. And getting back to the Democrat Socialist of America, after the break, I'm going to break down in a little more detail of what's really going on here inside the Democrat Party, and it's pretty amazing actually what's going on inside of the Democrat Party. We'll get into all of that and more after the break. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're located. I want to talk to those of you out there that are suffering with neuropathy or have a relative who do. You want to call Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. They have a treatment for neuropathy that works. Okay? No matter what stage of neuropathy you're in, whether you're in the early stages, the mid stages, or even the later stages of neuropathy, Lighthouse Medical can rid you of your neuropathy and you can get your life back. I know many listeners over the years that Lighthouse Medical has been with us have gone over there and availed themselves of this incredible treatment. It works. It works. Be able to leave your house again, go out to dinner, take vacations, go to the mall, just drive again. Get your life back. The consultation's free if you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Callers on hold, stand by. We'll take our last break of the first hour and be right back.
Searching for hope while confronting loneliness, broken dreams, depression, and the desire to be understood. The never-ending maze explores whether healing, purpose, and light can still be found even in the deepest darkness. Through heartfelt reflections on relationships, faith, mental health, art, and the struggle to keep moving forward, every page offers an honest and unforgettable journey. This book also makes a great addition to your book club. Order your copy right now on Lulu.com and Google Play Books. The Never-Ending Maze from author Mara Solis.
All right, now, you know, they have the Republican primary in Minnesota, and in the last poll, Mike Lindell is 6 points ahead in that poll. We'll see. There's 3 Republicans running in it, so maybe the anti-Mike Lindell vote has been split. We'll find out, and that'll probably come in early. They don't want him to win. 10 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Jeremiah, calling from Tennessee.
Okay, Jeremiah.
Why does President Trump keep
Wait,
calling
no,
this
no,
on
no,
the job?
fake caller, fake voice, fake name. No, sorry. Oh my goodness! Every time that guy calls, he's got a different name from a different city, and no, not going to do that. If you talk to me like a normal person, you know, I will talk to people, but you're not going to treat me like a chump, you know, like you're pulling something over on me. Not going to happen. If you're on hold, stand by. There's a couple things I want to get into. And this was just a phenomenal clip. I played this clip yesterday, but it is so significant. I want to play it again. This is AOC on ABC This Week.
I have a local city councilman who has this saying, "Woke one was crazy." And I think that what's important is that we have to assess what candidate is saying. Well, you know, I think that during this time, and especially during COVID, there was a huge opening of the overdoses. We were shut down. There was some of the highest unemployment rates that we have seen because of those shutdowns. And I think that the doors were really open in trying to entertain any and every policy that was going to get us to a better place. And I actually think that the discussions that were had in that time were quite
Okay, so what's going on here is AOC has left the radical lunatics, and now she's joined the Republican establishment, and I'm sorry, the Democrat establishment. And what the Democrats are doing is a pivot, a strategy, and a rebrand. And this is very important. The Democrat establishment, of which AOC is now a part of. Woke One was crazy, and she laughs. Remember her she said we had 12 years until the world was over. That's like, we got like 6 years left, 5 years left. That was several years ago. She was on drag shows and everything on television and everything else, and now she says all that was stupid. Defund the police came out of Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin and all of that, and it was a trend that they jumped onto. But this is a rebrand. So what's going on here in the midterm has brought Democrats victory in the past. This is a very important thing. I want to explain it to you. I talked about this on my podcast yesterday afternoon, but what's going on here, none of these pundits on TV have either recognized it or they're covering up what's going on. The Democrats are planning a major comeback in 2028, and this is the beginning of it. The Democrat Party establishment, of which AOC is now a part of, that's why she's saying Woke One was stupid, they're trying to lose the midterms. The Democrat establishment want to lose the midterms. They want to lose the midterms and blame the Democrat socialist for it, and all of these people that have these ridiculous positions like men and women's sports, defund the police, and everything else. They're going to blame the Democrat socialist and the radicals for the loss to purge them out of the party. And then they're going to start sounding reasonable again, like Fetterman. I don't trust Fetterman. I tell you guys, you can't trust Fetterman. Fetterman very well could be their nominee in 2028. Doesn't matter who they're talking about today. The chances are right now it'll be Fetterman in 2028 because he's sounding so reasonable. He's even wearing suits all the time now. He's given up the basketball clothes. And this strategy is what got Bill Clinton elected in 1996. When Bill Clinton ran for re-election, his re-election was not a firm bet. He had all these sex scandals going on, multiple sex scandals, okay? You know, and there were other scandals too, like Whitewater and everything else. And the strategy that brought him re-election victory in 1996 against Bob Dole was what the Democrats are doing right now. So I don't know if they have somebody who is advising them or if Bill Clinton's back on the job. I don't know. But they're using Bill Clinton's 1996 strategy that got him reelected. And this is what it was. Newt Gingrich had come up with the Contract for America. And in 1994, the Republicans, led by Newt Gingrich, won control of both the House and the Senate. It was the first time that Republicans controlled both houses of Congress at the same time in like 35 years. It was a big deal. So the Speaker became Newt, and then Bob Dole became the Senate Majority Leader. Okay, and the Contract for America included a lot of things that were very conservative at the time, including welfare to work. When Bill Clinton was up for re-election and the campaign started a year later, the Republicans were so popular, so popular. So what Bill Clinton did is he brought Dick Morris in as his national campaign manager, who he had worked with in Arkansas. And Dick Morris, who's a very smart man, came up with this campaign strategy that Dick Morris dubbed triangulation. And you can look all this up online, okay? And what Dick Morris and Bill Clinton did is Bill Clinton took all of the popular Republican ideas and made them his own. And the one I always remember is the welfare to work. He went against the liberals in the party and adopted all of Newt Gingrich's and the Republican Party's conservative, popular issues, ran on them to victory, and he was reelected. That's what the Democrats are doing right now. The Democrat establishment. They got to get rid of these Democrat socialists, okay? So they want to lose the midterms, blame the Democrat socialist for it, and the defund the police and the trans weirdos, and sound reasonable again, sound like rational people again, and they're rebranding the party moderate. Now, that doesn't mean that they've become moderate. It just means they're going to present themselves as a moderate party, a moderate group, a reasonable Democrat Party. They still will believe all this stupidity. They haven't given it up, as you'll see with some of the other stories I want to cover today. And it began with two things. It began with Fetterman sounding rational, Fetterman starting to wear suits, and then it really clicked for me when I saw AOC say woke one was stupid and laughed about it when she was asked by Jonathan Karl about defund the police and all of this stupidity. All right? That's what's going on here. Don't be fooled. They still support all of that liberal stuff, all of it, no matter how radical it is, even though they're going to tell you they don't anymore after they lose the midterms. And then they think they have a chance to get the White House back with probably Fetterman, either as the presidential candidate or the vice president. Remember, he is from Pennsylvania. And he's liked not just by Democrats, but a lot of Republicans are always talking about Fetterman. I don't trust Fetterman. Fetterman is a hardcore, when he was running, if you remember, hardcore left-wing socialist Fetterman. So this idea that he's some rational guy, I point out all the time that no matter how rational he sounds on television talk shows, when it comes to the votes in the Senate, he always votes with the Democrats and their lunatic fringe, okay? So you can't trust Fetterman, but I think that 2028 could very well see Fetterman and AOC running together. Pennsylvania is a key state. Fetterman's from the ring. So I could see Fetterman at the top of the ticket and AOC running as his vice president. I could see that, boom, just like that. You heard it here first, and that's what's going on here. All right, yeah, we have some time for some calls. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Bernie. This is Richie.
Oh, hey, Richie.
The bait and switch with the president is the most beautiful thing I could ever see.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, the press is so upset. I mean, that same press that said that this is a war of choice, that the United States shouldn't be there. They're listening to the Israeli president, Netanyahu. This has nothing to do. And the crisis that we have, the food crisis, I mean, everything is a crisis with these people. They forget that under that brain dead president they had for 4 years, they invaded our country with over 10 million illegal people, they just invaded, and then they tried to lawyer them up. They gave them blueprints how to get into the country under the last president.
Yep.
And the inflation, if you can remember, what did he do? He started sending checks out to everybody, and the inflation went out of the roof. So this affordability crisis is directly to Joe Biden because the prices were never that high.
This morning I went out to Starbucks and I was live streaming on YouTube. It's like 4:30 in the morning, and I was talking about how gas prices are under $4 a gallon. And these liberals in my live this was like 4:30 this morning on YouTube. I'm waiting for Starbucks to open, and they're like, I don't believe you. Go show the sign at the gas station. So I left Starbucks and drove the car to the gas station, $3.54 a gallon. And they're still telling me that's not the gas. Well, show me the gas pump. That's not the, I mean, $3.54 a gallon. That's pretty reasonable considering what's going on right now.
100%, Brian. And then when they talked about that President Trump with the bait and switch when he got off and he went in there with Pete had said into the refrigerator cart into the other plane. People, what do you think? What do you think they have two Air Force Ones? Because they don't want the people to know which one he's on.
Correct.
Because any president is at risk. And unfortunately, the press, they were vulnerable, but the president is vulnerable every day. And I hate to say this, I'd rather lose that commie group of people that follow him around and trash talk him all the time and twist every word he says.
Well, what happened is, by the way, they did not put the president in a a food cart like flight attendants use. Okay, he went
No,
he
no.
went inside of I don't know what you call it, but those he went inside a container that they put on back of the flatbeds. You know, like a container truck. So it was a full size thing that you could walk around. People live in things that size. But the
Yeah, it
press,
looked like walking.
you know, now over the weekend they found out who the leaker was about to the press about the security issues with the new Air Force One. It was Biden's Air Force Secretary. And now we find out how real this threat was and what extremes they went to. So that guy has committed some hardcore felonies.
Well, I got to say this to you 100%. I got to break this out to all you Democrats, all you traitors to this country, and to the President of the United States, okay? The fact of the matter is that Barack Obama's deal with the Iranians, and they always revert back to that they should have stayed with that they had a breakout point. He was giving them the nuke, and Trump wasn't going to let them have the nuke. And I prefer not having the nuke, knowing the kind of people they are, than having a nuke. So I mean,
Agreed.
Obama was the same as they are. Baloney guy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and now, Richie, the media are very upset that they were on this plane that was under threat from Iran, and the president wasn't. You know, so they're acknowledging that Iran committed an act of war.
They take that risk every time they get on a plane with the President of the United States. If you stand next to the President, you're taking a
Exactly.
risk.
All right, I'm out of time for the hour. I got to run, Richie, but you take care. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you'd like to call in, the number is 888-465-2631. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. Be back with more right after this.
Every day brings new possibilities, an opportunity to create, an opportunity to discover something that adds a little more inspiration to your life. And in Victoria, every collection begins with a simple idea. Wonderful discoveries should be exciting, memorable, and accessible. Thousands of possibilities are waiting to be explored. The next one could be yours. Begin your journey at invictora.com. ENVICTORA.com. In Victoria, inspired by possibility.
My Pillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium My Pillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I was asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, 1998. These only get XT's Fruit Veggies, the best sheets in history for as low as $29.98. Luxury 60s Felses, melted every night for the price of now $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress covers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
What if you could understand the Bible as one complete story? From creation to Jesus to the fulfillment of end times prophecy. Now you can with engaging, eye-opening Bible study live stream. Where scripture runs deep. Go understanding of God's Word. Discover how the events unfolding in today's world fit into the bigger picture God revealed throughout the Bible. Explore biblical prophecy and what it says about the future. Compare God's truth with Satan's deception. Examine the evidence for creation versus evolution. And gain fresh insight into the people, places, and promises found throughout Scripture. Whether you're new to Bible study or have been reading the Bible your entire life, these live streams will help you connect the dots, strengthen your faith, and better understand the times we're living in. Don't miss this opportunity to grow in your knowledge of God's Word. Join these life-changing Bible study live streams right now. Find the link in the description of this episode. Share the link on all your social media so your friends can join in too. Again, the link is in the description of this episode. Look in the description and click it right now.
Yeah, guys, if you could do me the favor of going into the description and checking out that Bible study, you'll see the link. When you go into the description, it says Bible study and then the link's next to it. And that Bible study, there are videos. There's 2 live streams a week, but you don't have to watch them live. You can watch them after they're live. Is done by somebody who's a regular watcher and listener to the program. So if you could go into the description and click that link and check out their Bible study, I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, we got about a minute until we're back. If you're on hold, hang in there. I got a couple other things I want to get into when we get back. And but you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. All right, less than a minute, and we shall be back. Yep, the number's pinned in the live chat. All opinions are welcome. You know, I see a lot of big mouths in the live chat. The calls are all screenless. Nobody answers the phone. You just put on hold, and all opinions are welcome. That's right. You can call me out at any time. About 30 seconds, we'll be back. But I guess you guys are chicken. That's right. Chicken trolls. That's what they are. Troll chickens. All right, we've got about 15 seconds. Ten seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ohio, and it's Kaj. I'm getting idiots on the chat, so I want to talk to you about the recent report from UK.
Okay, hold on one moment while I answer all these lines that are coming in. Oh, hold on. Okay, yes. What happened in the UK?
It came out with a report that 250 white women have been raped by Muslims.
Yeah.
Gang rape.
Yes, I've seen that stuff. Yeah, I've seen those stories.
Talking about that.
Yeah, I've seen those stories.
Why aren't we talking about that?
Well, one, we're not in the UK. That's one. Two, the UK and the men of the UK are doing next to nothing about it. You know, and we've got to protect our country before we try to save England again. I mean, we've saved England in the last century. We got to do it again. I think England's on their own this time. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, though. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Chris from Chicago.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, I just wanted to correct Richie on something. The inflationary checks that he's talking about that was issued to Americans, it started under Trump. Okay, I just wanted to correct him on that. And another thing, even about the war, it still have a 50% approval rating among Republicans. So that's an issue.
So what does that mean?
Correct.
So what does that mean? Let's say that number's true. So what does that mean to you?
Well, for one, it's an issue when it comes to midterms.
Well, no, hold on a second. Hold on a second here. This is interesting because I'm trying to understand what you're saying here. You think that a good president doesn't govern based on what they think is right, that they should go by like daily opinion polls? What are you suggesting?
Well, unfortunately, we do live in a democracy, and they do govern by midterms.
No. I'm talking about there's different types of democracy, okay? And what you're talking about is some version of direct democracy where presidents we elect a president to a 4-year term, and after 4 years, that's when the real poll comes. At the voting booth, you decide whether or not you want to continue with that way or not. But what you're suggesting is something different. You want to go by the daily polls, and the presidents are supposed to pivot into whatever direction the polls lean? Is that what you're suggesting?
They do. They do all the time. What are you talking
about? No,
about?
you just told me President Trump's not doing that. You want President Trump to govern by the daily polls.
No, but he's trying to. He just can't get out of the war. He's trying.
No. We're talking about what you're suggesting. So say right now, according to you, 50% of Republicans you say are opposed to the war. Well, that means that 50% of Republicans are in favor of it. So what should he do? 50 are for it, 50 are against. What should the president do?
Well, unfortunately, the 50% is the ones who go out and vote. Okay, and that's the problem.
No. When the president sees a poll, what is he supposed to do? We're in this combat operation in this Jimmy Carter 50-year war we're in. You say that 50% of Republicans want us in the war, 50% want us out of the war. What do you believe the president should do with a poll like that? What should he do?
Well, to be honest, I mean, he still got to take course regardless.
What do you mean be honest? Weren't you being honest before?
I said regardless, he still got to stay course of what his plan is.
Oh, so you want him to defeat Iran, is what you just said.
I mean, I want them to get out of the war.
You want him to defeat Iran. You want him to defeat Iran. You know, if you govern by daily opinion polls, that means that we don't have a chief executive. We don't have a president. We just have some Frank Luntz character who releases poll numbers that may not even be actual polls. They may just write down the numbers. Whoever releases the poll becomes the leader. That sounds like chaos.
My only point is that this is a bad thing for Republicans because of the midterms that's coming up. That's the only point.
Well, then you should be happy.
I mean,
Isn't that, well, you should be happy then.
Well, I'm just letting you know, so stop trying to spin it all the time.
No one's spinning. I think you are confused now because you realize what you said was stupid.
Regardless,
okay, so you're agreeing with me that what you said was stupid.
Well, what I'm trying to say is this. I just don't want you coming over here every day thinking that it's a good thing. Oh, we're doing this and doing that and all that. Stop saying that because it's not the case. Okay, just
really?
Be honest with your listeners and let them know how much this is.
You haven't seen you have not seen the Iranians launch any Islamic terror attacks against people. Their Islamic terror network is not effective anymore. President Trump has saved so many lives around the world by taking down Iran.
Okay, well, like I said, that was the only point I was trying to make, man. That just stop acting like this is a great thing, and
it is a great thing. Listen, you're not a young man. How old are you? How old are you?
Fuck it, I'm in my 40s.
You're in your 40s. Okay. You know, throughout your entire life, I'm older than you, but throughout both of our lives, all we've heard about is Iran behind these Islamic terror attacks, like October 7th. October 7th in Israel was an attack on Israel by Iran with their front group Hamas. You know, and we haven't, and during the 6 months of this conflict, 5-6 months, the Iranians haven't been able to do anything like that. He's neutralized their terror operation.
Well, actually, he really haven't accomplished no goals. Like I said, they set out to get the nuclear material. They haven't got it.
It's at the bottom. It's so deep underground that only 2 countries have technology to dig it out: us and China.
Well, regardless, he still said he wanted to possess.
It's deep underground. It's deep underground.
But he still set out to say he wanted the material. It never
well, we got it at the bottom of the ground, too deep for them to get to.
I don't want to get back and forth about this war.
Yeah, I know. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I just want them to get out of it.
You just want them to get out of it. Oh, so you want the Republicans to win the midterms then? You said continuing this operation will cost Republicans the election. So now you want the war to end. So you want the Republicans to win the midterms?
For one, I don't want the Republicans because y'all is crappy on the economy, for one. I mean, I'm going to tell you that right now. That's a really reason why I don't want the Republicans to win the economy, the midterms.
Okay, so you want the fighting to continue then. So you want the fighting to continue so the Democrats, you think, will win.
I want the fighting to stop. But once again, you're going to lose anyway because Trump has done nothing about the economy. That's why he's going to lose.
The largest tax cut in history, no tax on tips. No tax on overtime.
No tax on tips only affect 2% of Americans.
Well, you're just making numbers up. More than 2. I give a tip every day at Starbucks, and they split it. Excuse me for speaking while you're interrupting. You know, I asked at Starbucks how the tips work. They split it amongst the shift. Right? Yeah. So I just tipped 4 people this morning. That's 4 people I tipped this morning when I got my coffee.
That's fine, but that only affect 2 to 3% of Americans. Look it up. You can look it up.
No, it's a lot of people. Every Uber driver, Lyft driver, DoorDasher, bartender, waiter, waitress.
Only 2 to 3% of Americans that has an effect on.
More than
no
that.
tax on tips. That is
More
dead.
than that. There are
Okay,
so
you
many
can
people
look
in
it
the
up.
service.
When you get a chance, look it up yourself. You're gonna be disappointed.
You sound confused.
You're gonna be disappointed.
You sound frustrated.
How am I frustrated? I'm giving you true facts and data. You
No,
don't
you're
wanna-
just
if you
you're
don't
just
wanna
throwing
accept it,
words
that's on
out.
you.
You're just throwing words out. You sound panicked.
How am I sounding? What are you talking about? I'm gonna give it. You're the one who denying what I'm saying. I think you're the one in denial. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
You know, no tax on tips. All these people that no longer have to pay taxes on tips, that is life-changing money for them in their pocket.
That's true, but that's only 2 to 3% of Americans. That doesn't help me or you. That doesn't.
Oh,
have
everything's
no
about
effect on your
you.
life.
Everything's about you.
No, but
Oh,
I'm
you're a
just saying
narcissist.
that has-
You're a
no,
liberal
I'm saying
narcissist.
has
Oh,
no
if it doesn't, if
drama
you don't,
to it.
okay, so you don't care about no tax on tips. What about no tax on
I'm not
overtime?
saying it does.
What about no tax on
No
overtime?
tax-
Doesn't that help the economy?
That really doesn't help me because I work for the railroad.
Well, it's all about you, isn't it? Oh my goodness.
It ain't all
What a
about-
typical liberal. It's all about him. Liberals are very selfish creatures, aren't they? It's all about him. Oh my. I want to talk about Sloman Central Air Conditioning. You know, yesterday I went outside. It was as hot as the surface of the sun outside my house yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I was going to do some work outside yesterday afternoon. Forget about it. Forget about it. I came back in my climate-controlled, air-conditioned home. If your air conditioning is running all day, you need a new unit. Your air conditioning unit is not working properly. Do you have rooms in your house, 1 room, 2 rooms, that are hot no matter how much you run the air conditioning? You need a new unit. Call Sloman Central Air Conditioning. They have an incredible deal. Listen to this. With Sloman's, you can get a high-efficiency, 5-ton, 18-SEER system that uses R454B refrigerant for just $59.99 with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. It also comes with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper service plan that includes annual system maintenance, filter replacements, and refrigerant, not refrigerants. Refrigerant, so there is no annual maintenance cost to you, and you'll also receive the Sloman Shield home security system installed with 5 years of professional central station monitoring included with your AC package. Give Sloman's a call right now, 561-217-COOL. That's COOL. 561-217-COOL. 561-217-COOL. Call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this. Things didn't go too well for that guy. He was not, he didn't sound too happy during that call, did he? If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to go to the phones after the break, guys, okay? 888-465-2631. All right. And guys, if you could do me the favor of, if you've not already done it, please like the video. When you like the video, it gets the video recommended to people that have not yet found the program. So please like the video, okay? It helps a lot. And if you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free and pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. 888-465-2631. Toll-free call no matter where you are listening. Oh my goodness, I tell you, I love that. Well, if it doesn't affect me, very selfish of you. He only cares about things that directly affect him. That sounds like a psycho narcissist. That's right. If you're on hold, hang in there just over a minute, and we'll be back, guys. Let's see here. Yep, less than a minute. We'll be back. Let's see, where is that at? Okay, stand by. You know, if you're in the tip economy and you don't have to pay taxes on those tips, that's a big raise. And people that earn overtime, oh man. Overtime has always been taxed at a higher rate than your regular wages. So, you know, no tax on overtime. That's huge money for people. Huge money. Life-changing money. But if it doesn't affect him, the guy from Chicago, what a psycho. Narcissism. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
You know, man, there's an old saying that the Navy had, a slip of the lip will sink a ship. I'm wondering if these reporters on Air Force One are saying, hey, man, we better watch what we say. Our life is in danger. You know, they too quick to report things like, oh, we're low on our ammunition.
Well, this thing about President Trump's escape from the Iranian assassins from Air Force One in Turkey is a pretty amazing story. I'll go after the next break. I'll go through that story again because it's very miraculous, and I want to cover it again. I openly, but here's the thing, okay? The media they leaked that story out about Air Force One not being safe and couldn't repel an attack. You know, they had just many of them survived an assassination attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner just a few weeks before that. And they're still out there doing this. They're as psychotic and narcissistic as that last caller who says, well, who cares about no tax on tips? I don't get tips. Oh, well, it's all about you. I didn't realize that the president was your personal president. I mean, you know, these are sickos.
That last caller is typical of the American people falling for the fake news. There's too much fake news that sticks, unfortunately, to some people. Like, yesterday, I talked to somebody about President Trump has the lowest inflation rate, and
in 35 years.
That's fake news. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, do you see the price of gas? I said, the price of gas is
If you guys were watching my YouTube video at 4:30 this morning, I mentioned this in the first time. This was hilarious. Okay, so I'm live streaming on YouTube in my car, in front of Starbucks, waiting for Starbucks to open, which I do this every day. I do a live stream on YouTube like early in the morning, 4:30, 5 in the morning. And these liberals are in the chat room. What about the price of gas? I said it's under $4 a gallon, well under $4 a gallon. And they keep saying, well, show me the gas. Well, I'm not at the gas station. I'm at Starbucks. And they get, well, show me the sign at the gas station. So I drove over to the nearest gas station. It was $3.54 a gallon. $3.54 a gallon. And I walk up to the sign. I got out of my car. I walk up to the sign and I'm showing it on camera on the YouTube live stream this morning. And they're still like in denial. Well, it's this where I'm at. Well, this is where I'm at. I told you it's well under $4 a gallon. It's just $3.54 a gallon. And they're gaslighting, right? As I'm standing at the sign.
Yeah, because they don't want to believe that they were believing the lies that they've been telling everybody, and now if you try to correct them, they get all upset because, oh, I was wrong, so they can't admit that they were wrong, and they just continue to
$3.54 a gallon. That is incredible. $3.54 a gallon.
Considering we're in a war, I mean, you would think it would be higher, and with the straits being was closing, the open, and now to have it at that price, the prices are dropping, and President Trump is doing a great job as usual. He does whatever he can.
Absolutely.
These people don't want to accept that, and not, like I said, anything I said, you know, you want to see the prices of everything is high? Joe Biden was the one who caused the inflation. How fast do you think?
Now
it'll go down?
there's one
Donald Trump
thing
is doing that.
there is one thing where the prices have gone through the roof under President Trump because of his actions, and the prices are incredibly high. The price of illegal drugs, cocaine, fentanyl, heroin, because he shut down the border and he blew those drug boats out of the water. So you know, if you're a junkie, I'm sure the inflation has hit you pretty hard.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if that's correct, but
Of course,
I'm sure that
supply and demand.
there's
There's less of it being imported into the country, so that's supply and demand. It goes up.
Well, that's got to be. That's just the way it is, you know. But he won't get any credit for that. No.
Well, I'm giving him credit. We'll give him credit. All right, appreciate the call, Doug. Take care. Now, did you catch the president's vaccination event signing in the Oval Office yesterday, which of course turned into a press conference? And this was great. He's talking about the Muslims running for Congress and the Somali. Listen to this. Mm-hmm. Nope.
They're not smart, no aptitude, they have nothing going, and they're telling us how to run our country. And I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that they start off, now I may be wrong, you know, they start off with a big disadvantage. People don't.
Yeah, so he's absolutely right. I'll go in reverse. They're going after him for saying that the Somalis are not smart. It was reported when the Somali pirate scandal of Minneapolis was exposed by Nick Shirley that the average IQ of a Somalian in Somalia is like 68 or something, very low. And President Trump said it's not even a country. It's just a bunch of people walking around. Somalia is like prehistoric. It's not even a country. It's more like a compound. Where you know what I'm saying? And you have people that come from the third world, come from anarchies, come from countries that are living like prehistoric times, and they come to the United States and they want to tell us how to run our country. And he said he had a friend that said he should call these people jihadis. That's an accurate term because they're advocates for them. And what Abdul and these other Muslims that are running for government are doing is they've got it in their head. This is a long-term strategy. And I've got something I want to share after the break you will not want to miss, okay, in regards to this. This is a long-term strategy. They haven't been able to destroy Israel. So they're telling themselves, well, they got all this American money. Let's get our Muslim Democrat Socialist elected to Congress. Congress controls the budget, the government spending, the purse strings. We'll cut off Israeli funding in Congress. Then we'll be able to wipe out the Jews. That's what they're doing. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour, and I've got a couple things I'm going to move into during the break, but you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And Coastal Weight Loss Secret, of course, the home of the metabolic reset. And I've come to realize from Dr. Zuckerman over at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, the reason that I've kept the weight off without gaining not even a single ounce back is because he reset my metabolism. It's absolutely amazing. And no, I don't exercise. Nothing. Zero exercise other than running my mouth. I do that, but I don't know how many calories running my mouth burns, but no exercises. Not only do I eat foods I would normally eat, and I don't starve myself, I still have, I have some things I like. I have my coffee and cream in the morning. My wife just got me, I love jelly beans. Like Ronald Reagan, I like jelly beans. My wife got me some jelly beans. I was eating jelly beans last night, and I've kept all the weight off. But yesterday, one of our very nice listeners, they went and found an old video of mine that was about 4 years old, and they left a message underneath it. Brian, you could use this video in your Coastal Weight Loss Secret commercial, because my face was round in the video, and if you go on my YouTube channel and look at my videos that are 2, 3, 4 years old, you will see that I had a round face. Now I've got a square jaw, I've got my neck back, I've got definition on my cheeks, my belly is flat, I've had to buy all new clothes. I was wearing size large shirts, now I wear a size small. I weigh what I weighed 30 years ago when my wife and I got married. You can do it. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation. I've been on one weight loss plan, and it worked. Coastal Weight Loss Secret. 561-359-3418. They can help you lose weight no matter where you're located. Virtual appointments are available. 561-359-3418. 561-359-3418. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. We'll be right back.
Every day brings new possibilities, an opportunity to create, an opportunity to discover something that adds a little more inspiration to your life. And in Victoria, every collection begins with a simple idea. Wonderful discoveries should be exciting, memorable, and accessible. Thousands of possibilities are waiting to be explored. The next one could be yours. Begin your journey at invictora.com. ENVICTORA.com. Invictora, inspired by possibility. Interior designers understand an important truth. Furniture shapes the way a room feels. The right dining table.
Okay, good. All right, 30 seconds. All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group for the first time this week. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning, and what do you have for us today?
Hey, good morning. What I have today is I was going to talk about elder law and Medicaid, and it's really about protecting your assets from the cost of long-term care so that you or you and your spouse don't have to worry about spending down all of your assets and potentially going broke if either of you become ill. And there's two key myths that come up with Medicaid. Actually, there's a few, but I'm going to go over two of them today.
Yep.
One of them is just, the first thing people think about when they think of Medicaid is, well, you have to be poor, and otherwise you're not going to qualify, and that's the farthest thing from the truth. Most people listening right now could qualify for Medicaid, believe it or not, even if your assets are much higher than the asset limit and your income is much higher than the income limit. Most of you could still qualify with some correct planning. And then the other thing is that when it comes to this 5-year look back, a lot of people think, oh, well, I won't be able to, I'll have to wait 5 years from the time I'm sick. By that time, I'll be broke anyway. So no, you can avoid that 5-year look back. There's planning that can be done to help you avoid that 5-year look back. So when the time comes, either for you or your spouse, when you need to qualify, you'll be prepared so that your assets will not have to go through that 5-year look back. You'll be able to transfer the assets in a proper way that Medicaid allows to a trusted family member, for example, in a way that Medicaid allows, and you would be able to apply and qualify for Medicaid right away. So a lot of myths out there, and a lot of people are not doing the proper planning because they jump to the wrong conclusion that they can't qualify when they can.
Yeah, and I bet you there's sad stories where people have gotten bad advice from someone, usually a family member that doesn't know what they're talking about. They've spent down all their assets, and then they come to you, and then they learn that they didn't have to do that. It's got to be really sad, Barry.
It is. I mean, sometimes we have families come in that would have otherwise been able to qualify had they done the proper planning in advance. And it's one of the saddest, most frustrating things in my business to have to tell someone or their family member, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do.
Mm-hmm.
We could have if we planned in advance, but sometimes either people don't get around to getting the advice that they need in advance, or sometimes people come in, they are presented with the options, what they can do, and they put it off. They'll get around to it, but they never do, and then it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, listen,
planning ahead is so important.
Give the Siegel Law Group a call. When you call, make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you can take advantage of the no-charge in-office consultation. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. That's 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
Perfect. Thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. Take care. All right, we are back. I had a couple. It's so weird. Yesterday, two people sent me photographs. Al Knight, who does weekends here on the True Oldies, he sent me a photograph. I don't know. I don't remember him being there taking this, but he had a photograph of me in our old Boca Raton radio studio. And I put it up on Facebook yesterday, and I can that studio had a smell to it. I can smell it looking at the picture. But then someone else sent me a picture of Steve Kane in our old Coral Springs studio. Now the photograph of me is about 5 or 6 years ago. I remember, it wasn't that, when we were in that studio. But the photo, if you go to either the Steve Kane or Brian Craig Facebook groups, just look for Steve Kane or Brian Craig on Facebook. I have a photograph of Steve. It is in our old studio in Coral Springs, and I'm trying to figure out what year that is. And if anybody could take a look at that photo and let me know. I know it's after 9/11. I know that, but I don't know when. And I'm trying to figure out what year it was. So it's in both the Steve Kane and in the Brian Craig Facebook group, so check those out. And if any of you out there can figure out what year that is, or maybe you're the one who took the photo and it's timestamped, let me know, because I'm trying to figure that out And I just can't figure it out. All right, we are back. There's a lot to cover here. This story, this is, well, let me share the story, then I'll tell you my opinions on it. It's really an upsetting story. Mom Donnie's wife, who has a different last name than him. I did not know that. Why do all of these Democrats have wives with different last names? My wife has the same last name I have. They have different last names. This is the headline in the New York Post today. New York City First Lady traveling to Syria and Lebanon with taxpayer-funded NYPD security detail. She's heading to, this is in the New York Post, she's heading to Syria and Lebanon. Who the heck does that? Right? I guess Muslim people. Mamdani's wife is heading to Syria and Lebanon next month. She's bringing along cops assigned to their NYPD detail, the New York Post has learned. She's jetting to the Middle East for a trip that are on the State Department's do not travel list for Americans because they're dangerous. But if you're the wife of the first Muslim mayor of New York City, I guess you're in no danger. You're a welcomed, honored person. Let's see here. She's 29 years old. She's a Syrian-American artist, so Syria is her homeland. Oh, my goodness. She has ties to the region, refers to herself as a Syrian illustrator on her website. Her parents are Syrian Muslims, originally from Damascus. Okay? Let's see here. She's taking NYPD with her. It's not official business. It's a private trip. If I remember, she was going to some Muslim wives retreat or something over there. Well, regardless of what the reason is, I want you to think about this. She's going to Syria and Lebanon, which are on do not travel list if you're an American by the State Department. What kind of message does it send, especially while this fighting, this combat's going on with Iran, that the Muslim First Lady of the Muslim Mayor of New York is traveling to Syria and Lebanon with NYPD police officers as her security detail? What message does that send to the Muslim world, do you think? What do you guys think? I'll tell you what message it sends to me. You know what that? You know how they'll put, she's going to be welcomed like Jackie Kennedy over there. She's like the Jackie O of Syria and Lebanon. You know what message it sends to the Muslim world? That they won the war on terror, that we lost. Think about it. You've got the Muslim wife of the Muslim mayor of New York City. She's going next month, September, so during the 25th anniversary period of 9/11, and she's surrounded by a security detail who are police officers with the same police force that was running into the buildings that everyone else was running out of. How many NYPD officers died on 9/11? A lot. That's in such a terrible message. And the way that it will be spun in the Islamic media is that they won the war and we lost. Look what's happened. America has been conquered, and that's just sad, especially in September. There's not a worse time to do it than September, because it's the 25th anniversary of 9/11. Frankly, it's disgusting in my view. And I'd certainly like to hear your thoughts on that at 888-465-2631. Don't you think that's how Al Jazeera and the Muslim media will carry the story? Absolutely, it's how they'll carry it. Someone told me 72 NYPD officers died on 9/11. And she's being guarded by NYPD officers. You know, let me ask you, does that honor or dishonor the NYPD officers who died on 9/11? What do you think? I think it dishonors them, it dishonors their family, and it dishonors our country, in my opinion. Are you in pain? Well, then go see Dr. Appleton. The consultation's free. Appointments aren't necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. And take advantage of that no-charge consultation and let Dr. Appleton tell you how he can give you a pain-free life with his robotic laser away pain treatment. You know, his robotic laser away pain treatment, which has rid me of pain 7 times, works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Arthritis, bursitis, bone-on-bone pain, gout, TMJ, pre- and post-surgical, neck and back injuries, knee conditions, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain. The list goes on. And he can rid you of your pain too. Like he's not only done with me 7 times, but so many people in this listening audience. And it's amazing to me how excited people are when they're living pain free, because you get your life back. You feel so good. And with the robotic laser away pain treatment with Dr. Appleton, there's no surgery, no shots, no injections, no drugs. It's not only painless, you don't even feel the treatment when it's happening, and there's no downtime either. It takes just a few short minutes. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back. What do you guys think? Shouldn't they take, like maybe a private security detail with her, as opposed to NYPD officers? Or am I being too hard on Mrs. Mamdani? What do you guys think? Let me know. And I'd certainly like to hear your thoughts on the phone. I want to hear what you guys think. The number's toll free. It's penned in the live chat. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It is a toll-free call, no matter where you are listening. And you're all welcome to call in. All opinions are welcome. Oh, okay. That's Mike, the board app, texted me. We're going to be back in 1 minute. 1 minute, we'll be back. If they had any class, they wouldn't use NYPD security, okay? They would use some private security just because it's so offensive, but they don't care. They just don't care. All right, 25 seconds. Yeah, they're millionaires. All right, 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Yeah, you know, if Mamdani and his wife were halfway decent people, okay, they would have private security go with her to Syria and Lebanon. I mean, it's just they don't care. You know, she wants to go with the NYPD because of the message it sends. You know, and they're both millionaires, multimillionaires. They could afford their own private security if they had to pay for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they have the Muslim police officers escort her over there, because there are Muslim police officers in New York City. All right, now, this is just a bizarre story. Did you see what the governor of Massachusetts, if you're on hold, stand by, and your calls certainly are welcome, at 888-465-2631. You're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far, 888-465-2631. The governor of Massachusetts, what a lunatic she is. The governor of Massachusetts, she signed a bill yesterday expanding abortion up until the time of birth in the state. And I'll play you this audio. She signed this. She was surrounded by Democrats, women all, and abortion advocates who applauded her actions. Listen to the applause. Abortion up to right before birth. And there's two people here wearing, I don't know if those are doctor's coats or chef's coats, but they're, a couple of Dr. Mengele-Etz here, female doctors, Mengele-Etz. Following the signing, she says this is the governor of Massachusetts, abortion up to birth. I've heard heartbreaking stories from women and family who were preparing to welcome a healthy baby into their family, only to receive devastating news later in the pregnancy. Instead of being able to rely on doctors they knew and trusted at home, they were forced to travel hundreds of miles and pay out of their pockets while navigating unimaginable grief. This should never happen. The law continues, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. Under what circumstance, and why would you even be happy about such a thing? These women are glowing. Under what circumstance would you want an abortion late term up until birth? What would be the point of that? One of the reasons we haven't talked about abortion on the program in a long, long time. And, with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, there are a lot of places, Massachusetts, California, where liberalism has made abortions more extreme, like this, right? Some places it's gotten more conservative, like here in Florida, but this is insane. Up until birth, when Roe v. Wade was passed in 1973, and abortion became a thing, it was during all this ERA amendment time, the Equal Rights Amendment, where women didn't think they had equal rights, and they were advocating for all this business, and abortion became a part of that. When abortion became legal around the country after Roe v. Wade, which President Trump overturned in his first term, which is awesome. Imagine how many babies have been born since President Trump overturned Roe v. Wade. It's amazing. There will be literally millions upon millions, and over the course of time, billions of people will be born and have full lives because President Trump overturned Roe v. Wade. And then you see these psycho Nazis, this Nazi governor of Massachusetts, and these women in lab coats and everything applauding abortion up until the moment of birth being signed into law in the state of Massachusetts. Back when Roe v. Wade happened and abortion became, the law of the land through that ruling, there were a few things in play. Babies were not viable out of the womb as late as they are now because, the medical technology has advanced light years. That's 53 years ago. So so now babies are viable much earlier in the womb. My daughter was very, very premature. She was born at 20, I can't remember the exact number, my wife will know, but she was born at 20-some weeks, very early. There were babies even more preemie than her. And back in 1973, babies like that wouldn't survive. Now they can, right? And my daughter's 27 now, so I'm sure there's been great advancements in the last 27 years, even greater than we had back in 99 when my daughter was born. Also, there was shame involved oftentimes in certain areas if a woman was pregnant outside of wedlock. We don't have that anymore. Women don't even get married any longer. So the arguments for it, this psycho sicko governor yesterday that signed this bill into law legalizing abortion in the state of Massachusetts up until birth. You know what she is? She's a Trump derangement-suffering psycho Nazi man-hater is what she is. And what it is with these lunatic Naziettes that are applauding this sickness that this governor signed into law, they don't like men telling them what to do. And that's what it's all about. Like that caller earlier that says, well, I don't care about it. He hasn't done anything. I don't get tips. So don't tax on tips isn't real, to me, because I don't get tips. I don't get overtime. So none of that matters, right? Liberals are self-centered narcissists, okay? And this man-hating governor and this man-hating group of women around her, it's all about one thing and one thing only. They don't want men telling them what to do, and they hate Trump. So they want to take it out on their children. Abortion, except in very extreme circumstances, should be 100% outlawed in this country. 100%. We have a big problem. Okay? The majority of new babies born in the United States over the past few years are born to foreigners. The birth rate has only been slightly above our death rate for the last several years. You can't maintain a population with the birth rate as low as it is. The CCP and others have been waging this propaganda war with great success to reduce our birth rate. You look at the age of childbearing people today, the people that get pregnant and the ones that would normally impregnate them, they don't have reproductive sex. Half of them are gay. Of the other half, okay, half of the other half, which would be a quarter, there are all these weird genders and everything else. And of the quarter that's left out of the childbearing year population, they just don't even leave their house anymore. We can't afford abortions because some psycho man-hating governor who has the ERA on her mind signed it into law. We don't have enough babies being born to have abortions in this country. You know, the liberals used to say, well, who's going to pay for it? We don't have enough children being born. That is a fact. When the birth rate is only slightly above the death rate and most of the children are being born to foreigners, you can't maintain a country like that. Abortion needs to be outlawed. There's no purpose in it today. None. Zero. There's no shame in these women being pregnant out of wedlock. And medical technology has advanced so that babies can survive outside the womb so much earlier. And, you know, there's so many people out there that want to adopt. My daughter's adopted. My mother's adopted. Steve has 6 children that are adopted. You know, and believe me, there are long waiting lists because so few babies are being born. There are a long waiting list of people wanting to adopt babies. There's no purpose in this today. And I'm looking at these psycho women around this psycho man-hating governor of Massachusetts applaud, laugh, and celebrate abortion up to birth in the state of Massachusetts. Are you kidding me? These are psychotic people. You know, you look at the Democrat Party of today, they're all insane. The Democrats have always been wrong, but they're crazy people now. And they're triggered with their Trump derangement syndrome and everything else, but that doesn't mean they're any less crazy. Now, let's see here. Oh, yes, Jupiter Joe Thomas. I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. You know, annuities are absolutely amazing, and, you know, you get that monthly check deposited into your bank account each and every month. You know, I got to tell you, I wasn't kidding. When I went outside my house yesterday, it was so hot. I mean, I couldn't take it. I came right back in, you know, and how many of you out there are seniors living on your Social Security that are working? I can only imagine, especially here in Florida, what it's like for you in these hot summer months to go get a part-time job as a greeter at Walmart or door dashing it. You know, sometimes we'll have things delivered, and a lot of seniors are driving around delivering groceries and food with Uber and all of that stuff these days. That is very taxing in this weather. You're getting in and out of your car. Call Joe Thomas. You may be able to give up that that part-time job that you're working to just get by because you'll have that monthly income from your annuity come in. Call Joe Thomas. The consultation is free. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. You can also find his number on his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right. After the top of the hour, Steve Kane will be joining us. We'll also take some more calls. And I want to recap this story with the president's escape in Turkey, which was just an amazing story. and how ticked off the media are that he was capable of escaping. They're upset that he escaped after they let it be known to the press and the world that there were security concerns with Air Force One while he was in Turkey. So we've got a lot that we're going to cover in the next hour. We'll get back to your calls as well. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are located. And there's also, I'll talk to Steve about this, there were some updates on the Iran situation from the president yesterday. You know, whenever you see in the news that there's going to be an executive order signing or a photo op, anytime there's one of these things you wouldn't normally be interested in with a president, but President Trump's doing them, at the end, it always turns into a press conference. So like yesterday, he had this executive order he was signing on vaccinations. And I knew at the end it would turn into a press conference. And some new things came up about Iran and a lot of other things too. So in the next hour, we'll get into all of that and more. Those of you on hold, stand by. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Callers on hold, don't go anywhere. The number to call in is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're located. We'll be back with Steve Kane, your calls, and much more. And I'll recap the president's escape from the Iranian assassins in Turkey right after this. Okay, hang in there, guys.
Okay, so what's going on today?
It is. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. 3. We got 1 minute. We'll be back. 1 minute.
Give me the credit up, right?
Yeah. Yep. All right. Less than 30 seconds. All right, the 8 o'clock hour has begun. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning.
A lot is happening, and a lot's going on, but can I take a call or two? So people have been hanging over, and then I'll recap what's going on. All right, I'll take one or two calls, and we'll get into what's going on here today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Scott, and I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale. The reason for my call is I wanted to point out that numbskull that called you earlier.
Which one? You got to narrow. You got to be more specific.
Well, yeah, the 2 to 3% of Americans is affected.
Oh, the tips.
I looked it up myself. 52 to 60% receive overtime, and 43% of people report of working a job that receives tips.
Yeah. Well, you know, you heard what he said as a liberal. He says, well, he doesn't get tips or work overtime, so it doesn't matter to him. It only if it affects. He's a narcissist, like most Democrats.
Absolutely. He just wanted to mislead your listeners. That's all he was doing.
Mm-hmm. All right, Fort Lauderdale, you take care. All right, you take care. All right, a couple things, Steve. I wanted to talk about the elections. Then I want to tell you about this thing that happened with the president and his escape. Which was amazing. A lot of people have, I've been hearing from people the last few days, why aren't we talking about the primaries here in Florida? And I just wanted for a little house cleaning, I wanted to explain why we don't do that. Sure. And you agree with me on this, Steve, because you know I learned all this stuff from you. In the primary, you know, like for example, somebody called me yesterday about their ballot in West Palm Beach. A couple people called me on Friday. One guy called me about his ballot in Tamarack. Another guy called about his ballot somewhere else. And I said we don't really talk about that. We don't cover that. And I didn't explain why. But I am going to explain so people understand. Okay. When you're talking about, we don't talk about local elections too much. We talk about national elections. Now there are some local elections that have national implications, like our governor's race and such. But when you're talking about local elections, especially in a primary, the only person that cares about who's running for city commission in Coconut Creek or county commission in Palm Beach are people that live in that city or town, and even most of the people in that town don't care. So you can't talk about these little local races and go through people's ballots and everything else and put together our own voter's guide, because only the people that live in these tiny little towns will care about, and most of them, again, more than half won't even care about it in there, okay? So that's one reason.
Can I ask you a question at this point?
Yes.
But don't you feel, as a talk show host, don't you feel you have an obligation to contribute to getting out the vote, or
well, yeah, I mean, go vote. We'll talk about it. But we're in the primaries, and a lot of these races, you have 3, 4 people. A lot of these races we'll talk about when we get into the general, okay? You know, like each one of these local House seats, some of them have a dozen, like the one Debbie Wasserman-Schultz is running in. There's like 10 or 12 people running in that primary, you know? So when we get beyond the primary, for a lot of these congressional races, we'll talk about them. But we're not going to talk about who's running for the city council or the county commission or the sewage commissioner or dog catcher.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure I totally agree. I mean,
well, that would be a change from your 50 years on the air history, but you know. But go ahead.
Hear what I'm saying, and then you can disagree with me. I noticed something very interesting as I was watching both Fox and Max last night. The amazing thing to me is that you ever notice that all these guys on the other side of this issue all have strange accents, and it's all the same accents. Have you noticed that?
What do you mean, the liberal guys, or what do you mean?
No, I'm talking about Piker and all these
yes.
new hotshots.
Yes.
They all have foreign accents.
Yes.
And it's the same accent. It's not different accents. It's all the same accent. Where do they come from?
Mostly, Abdul's from Michigan, believe it or not, but a lot of times from like Syria and places like that.
Well, okay, let's slow down. So he's from Michigan. Why? Was he born and raised in Michigan?
He actually, hold on, Steve, while I answer these phones. Actually, he was born in Michigan. Yes, believe it or not. He's a first generation operative.
Where does this accent come from?
His parents, who are from, I think, Syria, are they Egyptian? No, his parents are Egyptian.
But he was raised in the United States?
Michigan.
But in the United States.
But see, here's the hold on, Steve. You're missing my point. If we had somebody like that running in South Florida, we'd talk about it in the prime. But we don't. You know, we don't have any guys with Nazi tattoos or jihadi connections running in South Florida. When we get into the general election, we'll talk about some of the local races.
I saw a guy running last night. I didn't write down the name, and I'm all over the place in terms of my listening at this point. But there was a guy running somewhere in Florida that is, I mean, I don't think he's in my district, but they all have this strange accent.
Yes.
And I'm trying, and it struck me for the first time. It's
a lot of Muslims. They have a lot of Muslims running. They have a lot of Muslims running. Yeah.
So anybody that speaks with that accent is a Muslim.
But I don't know what accent you're talking about, but there are a lot of Muslims. And there's one race. There's one that we have. I'm not sure what you mean. No, other than Muslim, I'm not sure.
Muslim is not an accent, right? We agree on that.
Middle Eastern.
Well, does it strike you as odd that all the people involved in the national picture that we're talking to, most of the males,
the Democrat Socialist, yeah, they're weird. Yeah, a lot of them are foreigners.
They're all foreigners.
A lot of them, pretty much. Yeah, like Hong in Wisconsin, and there's a lot of foreigners. Yeah, but see, we don't have any of the, you know, some of these people, there's a lot of people running that aren't viable, okay, and the ones that you talk about, like Ahmed in Michigan and the Nazi that they had running in Maine. These are national stories. We can't get involved talking about some guy who's running for the city commission in Margate. Nobody cares unless there's a controversy. There's no hook.
Brian, let me appeal to you. Everything that's going on in this election is a controversy now, because what's at stake here is so humongous in terms of stopping this takeover of the Democratic Party.
Well, yeah, that's why we're pointing these things out. You know, we're pointing these things out. But I don't think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, Steve, and I'll stand corrected, but unless there's a controversy, I don't think we should be talking about somebody running running for mayor of Lauderdale Lakes. I just don't think people care about that. Unless there's a controversy. Like with Ahmed, there's a controversy. He's Muslim and all that.
The whole thing is a controversy.
All right.
The whole thing is a controversy. We're about to lose our democratic society if things go wrong, and there's good reason to be scared.
We're winning.
Everything depends on turnout. We got to get people to turn out for this election. We got to remind.
Well, yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that, but what I'm talking about is some people have called in the last few days and want us to put together a voter's guide in these local races, and I just don't think you and I are having two different conversations. We agree with one another, but we're having two different conversations. It's kind of like, what do you call it, Steve, when you sing and people are in different verses of the same song? That's kind of what we're doing. We're out of sync. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, you start singing and then I start singing like a few seconds later. That's kind of what we're doing. We're having two different conversations. No, I agree with you 10,000%. But these.
Are you worried about? Let me ask you this. Let's find some stuff we can agree on. Are you scared of what's going on here in general? In the whole
only if I thought we were going to win. These Democrat socialists are going to lose. And not only are they going to lose. The Democrat Party establishment are going to help us beat them. So I'm not concerned at all. But we do have to have a massive turnout.
That's something we can talk about, because I disagree with your premise The fact is, let me tell you what scares, some of the things that scare me. Is this reliance that they have on the internet that that's starting to spread. And this guy who's the guy that's Pikers the hanger on? Not Mondani. Well, Mondani would be true.
Hassan Piker is the big mouth.
Piker.
Yeah, he's the big mouth.
But the internet is a factor. You know, the internet is, from what I understand, you know, I'm not an expert on the internet, but Donald won the last election because of the internet. He had tremendous support from, you know, podcasters
and things like that.
The podcasters. And with this guy that's running now, he puts on an act, and he makes people think that he's this romantic kind of
No,
character.
Hassan Piker has been so exposed. I mean, he's done.
Exposed to us, but
no. If you watch like CNN as an example, you know, a couple weeks ago the Democrats were climbing over each other to try to get to Hassan Piker to get him to speak and endorse them. And now they're all discounting him. Oh, he's just a live streamer. He's just a podcaster. He's just a Twitch streamer. They're all the Democrats are all dropping Hassan Piker. Yeah, he's really been exposed, and you're not hearing too much of him live anymore. A lot of people are talking about him, but he's kind of been cut off. If you're on hold, stand by. We got to take our first break of the 8 o'clock hour. Okay, and I want to talk about Life Imaging. And remember, Life Imaging have locations in Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, and Orlando. Now, I was talking to you guys. There was a guy that I was a big fan of that I got to meet many times, Adam the Woo, who was about 2 years younger than me, and he died about a week before Christmas of a heart attack, right out of the blue. No one expected it. He just dropped dead in his bed. And yesterday would have been his birthday, and I saw this video online. His father, who's a retired pastor, went to his grave and just had a breakdown. And I was watching this, and I was thinking, you know, he was in his 50s. If Adam would have just gotten a heart scan, he would be alive today, because the heart scan over at Life Imaging, they would have found that blockage. And he would have gone immediately to the hospital, probably right from there, right? They probably would have called 911, and he'd be alive today if he would have just had a simple heart scan. And I've learned so much about this through Life Imaging, and in 30 or 40% of heart attacks, the first symptom is instant death. Call Life Imaging FLA. By the way, when you're over there, make sure you ask about their full body cancer screening and virtual colonography as well, and say goodbye to sedation. Call right now for your free heart scan with a few minimum requirements valued at $699. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250, say free heart scan, and you will be connected in seconds. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian Craig. We'll take our first break of the 8 o'clock hour. Come back with more and your calls after this. got about 30 seconds. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian, and want to take some calls, Steve?
Yes, let's
All right,
do it.
all right, let's go. Let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Carlos from Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Hey, Carlos.
What's
Hey,
up, Carlos?
Steve hit something. Hey, what's up, Steve? Steve hit the nail on the head. I was noticing the lady. I know you don't like to use Oriental.
It's Asian.
The
People
Chinese-
are Asian.
Well, so are the Indians from India, but she looks Chinese to me. She won her primary, and she had a really thick accent. Now, I was also noticing that in California, that a lot of the Congress people out there, they look similar to her. And what I'm getting at is my parents fled a far left communist socialist country. These people, I'm sure they come from China or North Korea or Vietnam. They did the same thing.
A lot of Oriental people.
Right. So why are they in the socialist?
Because they were okay. I'll give you an example. This Hong lady, okay.
Right.
That
That's
she
the lady.
okay.
Yeah, that's the
Hong.
lady.
Okay, that's your Hong is the lunatic Democrat socialist communist that's running for governor of Wisconsin. She's from Korea. She says. If you notice, we've never heard which Korea she is from. Is she from South Korea or North Korea? And
Great point.
And I haven't heard anybody say that. And she very well may be Chinese. The Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party and the Muslims have people running for office all over the country. You know, this Abdul in Michigan, his father-in-law is connected to the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a terrorist group.
Can I say something? If they have this thick accent, now hear me out. Could these people be these anchor babies?
You mean like you mean an accent like you or Melania Trump have? I mean.
Right, but I'm saying they have if they're American citizen, they wouldn't have this really thick accent like they got. They could be from.
Your question is a good question.
Could the question you asked is taught English and in their country.
If I might, we engage in a two-way discussion?
Yeah, go ahead. This is your show. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, there's no question that it could be anything. But I've noticed, I've watched advertising on television a lot when I'm watching, because it's my field and I'm kind of interested in it. And the things I see going on give me pause and make me scared. I don't know what the hell is going on with my country, but I know these are not the people that I'm used to socializing with.
I think Hong is Chinese. I think the Korea is a cover. You know, the only Hong I know is Hong Kong and Hong Kong Phooey, and those are both Chinese. You know, and I think she's a front for the Chinese Communist Party. And
have you ever noticed when they're talking that they seem to all be from a lot of Oriental people?
Now you're all saying Oriental. You know, I'll give you an example. There's one race that...
Asian, I'm sorry, I want to be politically correct.
No, you're just being disagreeable. Objects are Oriental, people are Asian. I mean, I'm not a politically correct guy, but, you know, you've got to have some standards, right?
Yeah, but people from India also are Asian, too, you know, right?
You know, I hear a lot of Muslims refer to themselves as Asian. That's crazy to me. I mean, that's a new thing, you know, because they want to hide that they're Muslim. Yeah, there's a definite...
Pakistan.
Pakistan
technically is part of Asia.
What's going on with the Muslims and the DSA? This is their purpose. They're trying to. It's a Trojan horse. It's a Trojan horse. I mean, the Odyssey's out now, but that's what it is, a Trojan horse.
I'm thinking they're anchor babies. And they're taught English in their
Well,
country.
some of them are like Abdul is the perfect agent for them. He's a first-generation agent. His parents came here from Egypt, and he's born in the United States. They think that he could run for president one day and win. They plan on running him for president.
Well, his English is not bad. I mean, this lady has, if you notice when she speaks,
it's
she
not
has
that it's not bad, but it's not a question that it's not bad. The fact is that he clearly is part of that group that doesn't appear to be, that English doesn't seem to be his primary language.
Yeah.
Oh, right, but that
he's getting up there and he's getting up there. You know what this really boils down to in the end is the American people. Are the American people going to be vulnerable with, given our stellar educational system, which we see more and more what a failure that is every day? Are they going to be knocked over by a guy like this?
No, he's going to get creamed. Abdul's going to get creamed.
He plays John Travolta. Well, I don't know. What happens if they focus? What I'm worried about is them focusing on the younger generation on the internet. Who knows what mischief they can make using the internet?
Well, they already infiltrated our educational system, so we're screwed there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have too many CCP students and professors in our colleges. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Well, that's not an accident, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're under attack. We're under attack. But here, there's one race in Florida that we don't cover at all. That's a statewide race, and there's a reason why I don't talk about it too much. But do you remember Colonel Vindman? The guy. Colonel Vindman's running for the Senate.
Yes,
okay.
He's running. Yes,
okay,
he's running.
but let me give an example. He's running for the Senate here in the state of Florida, Colonel Vindman. Okay, and he lives in Broward County. But it's the Democrat primary. So why do you think, caller, I don't talk about that? I haven't talked about it.
Because Broward is...
Well, no, I think we should have been.
No, just the opposite. Just the opposite. Now, in the general election, if he wins the primary, we most definitely will a lot. Why give the guy... Very few people know that he's running. Very few people, even Democrats.
I saw his commercial when, and they were showing that he impeached Donald Trump.
Yeah, very few people know that. Now, this is a primary, okay? Very few people know he's running. So why promote him?
Don't you think we should warn the public? Don't you think we should make them aware?
What we would do, if he wins the primary, I'm going to be all over that story. Believe me, this guy should not even be allowed to run. He should be in a military prison for what he did to the president. Okay, but if we talk, in the primaries, this is the thing. Some of these races become national, right? Like the Nazi in Maine and Abdul. But Vindman has not. If we talk about him on a regular basis, we have a large reach and a large following here in Florida. We're actually helping him. At this point, he could lose the primary.
Not if we do our job right.
In the primary, no. If he wins the primary, we'll make sure that he loses. I'll be dedicated to it, And we've got exactly. Right now, we would be helping him in the primary because a lot of people right now. There's a lot of people listening in Florida that didn't even know he was running that now know because we just said it. Right. Okay. It's a very You understand what I mean?
And you've been hanging out with Trump and playing chess lately. What's going on?
This is tri-dimensional chess, which exactly five-dimensional chess. But do you understand what I mean? And I'll tell you, when he showed, do you know where do you know where he was born?
No.
Vindman?
Oh.
Colonel Vindman.
Was it? Yeah. Wasn't he somewhere like
where?
Somewhere?
He was in the Soviet Union.
Yes.
He was born in the Soviet Union. In Ukraine, he was born in Ukraine when it was part of the USSR. So
we've been infiltrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Vindman is operating under the radar. And it's our job to keep him on the radar.
If he wins the primary, Steve, we will be all over that race.
Got to get that close.
Well, Yes.
Brian, didn't Trump say the story about the old lady bringing the snake into his house?
That's right. That's right.
This is it. This is it.
See, he could lose the primary. He could win the primary. But us talking about him for weeks and months would help him win the primary.
Not if we're doing our job right.
Know about that. All right. Well,
I have faith that if I talk about him, that people will understand who he
but
is.
Steve, I mean, I bet you in our Florida radio audience, which is very large and vast, right? We have a large area, longest running radio show in Florida. I bet you, and people follow politics, I bet you 1 or 2% of the people in the audience knew that he was running for the Senate, and now they, you know what I mean? So we would be giving him free publicity that would help him. A lot of people.
Come on, you're going to tell me if you interviewed Vimmen, these are hypotheticals. If you interviewed Vimmen, you're going to tell me you think your interviewing skills are so bad that you wouldn't be able to.
I didn't say interview him. We can expose him, but I'm telling you, tactically, we would be helping him in the primary.
Steve, we're talking about a country that voted in Biden.
I don't know that that's true.
It's a good point.
I don't know if that's true. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, all right? If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. And by the way, I'll open this up to the audience. How many of you did not know Vindman was running in the state of Florida until I just said it, right? And I would think most of you in the state of Florida. Okay, if you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. We'll take our break and be right back. All right, Steve, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, we got a little more than a minute. We'll be back. So.
Okay.
Right. Hold on. I'm going to answer a couple more phone lines. Hold on. Okay. All right. Are you there, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. 40 seconds. Oh, believe me, if Vindman wins the primary, we'll be all over it. I mean, there's so much about him. 20 seconds. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian Craig. You want to take more calls, Steve?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they hung up on themselves by, I guess, their chin disconnected them. All right, you with me, Steve?
Yes.
All right, let's try another one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Sandra from Delray. I have some thoughts about the primary ballot. But first I want to say, yes, I want to say thank you to Steve Kane for being the voice of reason many times. And I want to say thank you for Brian. I don't have to listen to any other newscast. I mean, my husband has the politics on all day long. And what you tell me, or what you do on the air, it's never said on TV. So I tell him things. So I don't have to listen to any other news. Listening to you, Brian. You must be up all night listening to the news.
I get up at 1:30 in the morning every day of the week. 1:30 a.m.
God bless you.
Yes,
God
I
bless
do.
you. But anyway, my thoughts about the politics, the ballot. It bothered me too that I couldn't vote. You know, I didn't know enough about them. So what I did was I contacted on email the Republican Party. They gave me 3 of them. So 3 were missing. The other 3, I went online and I saw who endorsed them. I saw, I looked at the different candidates, who endorsed them, what they're about, and that's how I chose. So that was very helpful because one of them was endorsed by the police department and all these good organizations, and the other one had no endorsement.
Well,
so
a couple
things.
After we're past the primary, we'll be talking about these races. But when you're in a primary, there's too many people in them, and most of them.
I agree.
And it alienates people in the audience who don't, like you're in Delray. No one cares who's running for city commission in the city of Delray.
No, I don't think you should say that. I think you should say go online and you'll see what they're about.
But do you understand my point about Vindman?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they do that on Fox all the time. They keep promoting that woman, that's running for governor.
Hong.
And so it's like it's even though it's negative, it's news. They shouldn't. I don't think they should be, promoting her.
I mean, I'm reluctant. I didn't even want to. I just mentioned Vindman as a point today, and I promise you, there's a lot of liberals in this audience in Florida who said they had. When people go and vote, they vote with the name they recognize most of the time, right? And they may not even, when they go and vote and they see Vindman's name, it might not even ring to them. Who would think that guy who should be in prison? When he showed up to testify in Congress, there were 2 things about that guy turning the commander-in-chief into the inspector general. One, he was wearing the wrong uniform. Because remember, they changed their uniforms. They wore those World War II. He was wearing an old uniform, and he was obese. And who does he think he is? He's overweight in the wrong uniform on national TV. He should have been in trouble just for that alone. But what he did, he should have faced some charges instead of retired and discharged with honor, like he did.
Vindman was a character. There's no question.
But if he wins the primary, which I hope he doesn't, we'll be all over it.
Oh my God! No, I agree.
Well, I don't
with you.
I don't see waiting that long.
What? Oh, waiting.
I don't see waiting that long.
I agree with Brian. Don't give them any playtime.
Yeah.
I agree.
It would help in the primary.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You don't have much faith in the American people.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Whatever happened to the truth will set you free.
That's a communist slogan, isn't it? Or is that the Nazis? Which?
It's a gray line. It's a gray line. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You don't know if you can or if you should or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for being you.
Okay, take care.
Both of you.
All right, take care.
Thanks for your call.
Oh boy. All right, I'm going to put everybody on hold for a second, Steve. The phones are ringing off the hook. I don't know why people are upset with me. Okay, are you back with me, Steve?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Let's take some more of these calls. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jupiter. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air.
What's up, Jupiter?
I I've been to Cape Cod all summer, so I've been gone. I want to let you know a couple things. I wasn't going to call you until Friday, but you brought up these local elections. The first thing I was going to tell you about is when you go into Cape Cod, you see all those windmills, and every day I'm driving past them. 2 out of the 3 weren't working the whole summer. So it tells you what good are they? They're not even turning.
Yeah.
But anyway, forget all that stuff. But you know, and you might take this the wrong way. I don't know, but when I watch these commercials, it's Donald, Byron Donald, and the other guy, Mapley, I think his name is, John Mapley.
Yeah.
Okay, why do they have, when it's a black politician, you have to have him holding the basketball? It's like, why not hold a bucket of chicken?
All right, there we go. First dump of the day, Mike. Oh, my goodness. Let me put everybody on. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, my goodness. We almost got through the whole show without having used the dump button today, Steve. I'm assuming, I didn't hear the name, but I'm assuming the guy was a basketball player, so they have him hold the basketball. It's like, I'm in the skateboarding. You know who Tony Hawk is, the famous skateboarder? You never see Tony Hawk on TV without a skateboard in his hand, so people know it's Tony Hawk, right? I mean, that's why. If you're on hold, stand by while we're...
Oh, branding.
Yeah, exactly, so people know. Yeah. But no, there's if Vindman wins the primary, we'll be all over that, Steve. But he's running against a black woman, and she could win it, right? With these wokesters in the Democrat Party. We've given him too much publicity already this morning. After the primaries, we'll get into some. Now, the Byron Donalds race is different. That's a race that's had controversy in it. Fish Sticks came out with an insane accusation last week that, of course, has faded away. He is 36 points ahead of the number 2 in that primary, Byron Donalds. He's endorsed by the president, and he'll probably be the running mate of a future MAGA president, whether it's Marco or somebody.
He's a great candidate, Byron Donalds.
Yeah, so that's a primary we've talked about because that's kind of a national story. He'll be the first black governor of the state of Florida, and he'll be a Republican. So that's a good thing. All right, I'm trying to get the phones are ringing off the hook. I got to wait for the delay to rebuild. Why don't I do a spot while I'm waiting for the delay to build back up, Steve? How's that work for you?
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. I was talking earlier about Joe Thomas, about how, you're a senior working a part-time job with that money you get every month from the annuity. You could give up that part-time job. Here's another one. People work very, very hard planning their retirement. And what I've come to realize is one area that people neglect is part of your retirement is your Social Security. Well, one of you is going to die first, either the husband or the wife. And when your spouse dies, you lose one Social Security check. And that's an area of retirement planning that so many people don't factor in. The annuity can replace that lost Social Security check. The consultation with Joe Thomas is free, and I just want to give you a little bit of the value of that, right? Joe Thomas has for over 30 years been working in the retirement planning industry, so he's got a lot of experience. He's also a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by fewer than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So he's a top man in the industry, too. Give him a call, no matter where you're located, and schedule your no-charge consultation. And Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal just for you. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. You can also find his number on his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right, call us on hold, standby. Steve, I'm going to put you and everyone on hold, and we'll come back with the Gold Report with William Youngerman. All right, back after this.
Good. Yeah.
Stand by. Okay, 15 seconds.
Okay.
All right, it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with today's gold, silver, and precious metals report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking good after this last week and this week. The metals just literally breaking out of their sideways action that we've seen for quite a while, out of the summer doldrums, and looking to score some good highs right now. Gold yesterday trading in a range of 43.12 on the low to 43.96 on the high, and closing out the day at $4,388.10, which was up $46.80. Now we're up over about $400 from the lows that we saw a week ago. Silver up $2.14 yesterday, closing at $65.60, but we did hit a high of $66.18 yesterday. That after being below $60. Platinum was up $7, closing out the day at $1,750, and palladium was up $7 at $1,364. Overnight, we saw gold trading in a range of $43.56 on the low, all the way up to $4,436. And right now we're at $4,397 the ounce. That's up $8.90. Silver down 65 cents at $64.95 the ounce. Platinum is unchanged right now at $1,750, and palladium is down $16 at $1,348 the ounce. So the markets are very stable and doing very well. If you participated in these lows that we had a couple of weeks ago, you got to be pretty happy, and
Absolutely.
It's still a great time to be adding to these positions, because with this breakout of these numbers, gold should get up to about 4,700 on this run, I'm guessing, and silver, we don't know what that's going to challenge up in the 70s maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in these numbers with gold for so long now. Have we established a baseline yet, or not? Is it still undecided?
I think you got garbled there.
Oh, okay. Well, we're running short on time, so I'll just go to give out your information. But you know, we've been at these numbers in gold and silver for so long now, and it's just a great time, guys. Give William Youngerman a call. His number is 800-327-5010. 800-327-5010. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway. On the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can find both his address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. That's williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, you take care. All right, Steve, we'll take some. Well, let me get everybody on. Okay, I got you. Okay, let's go take some more calls as we wind down. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Steve.
Hello.
Hi, B. Good morning.
Hey, Uncle Steve.
Hi, B. How are you doing?
My head's exploding. I'm going to have to start writing things down again so I can know what to talk about when I call the show. But to answer what you were talking about, Steve, the accent is Arabic and Farsi kind of mixed. Most of the new people now, these Democrat Socialist Association, the DFA, whatever, commies, no. They have the same agenda as the regular Democrats, and now they're meeting like two rams, fighting their heads together right now. We got these two fractions are fighting right in the front of us.
Yeah.
One wants to control us and make us do what they want and take our money and make us live equally in squalor. The other one, and the downfall of the country. The other one wants to do the same thing, but to change your identity, your religion, and those two fractions are now fighting, which is beautiful to see. But what they do is they both use our rules, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They're using our rules to try to defeat us, but that's what in the end going to defeat them, because
All right, I thank you for your call. We got to get to
the military.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, all right. Nice guy. So let me. We didn't get into what happened with President Trump's escape from Turkey, and I'll just. It's all over the news now, but I'll just give you the capsulized version. So the Iranians, remember information leaked out in the fake news media that the new Air Force One was vulnerable to rocket attack or something. And so remember the president took the old Air Force One. Remember that in Turkey a few weeks back?
Yes.
Well, now we're finding out that wasn't true, that he boarded Air Force One, the old Air Force One, and then they put him in the catering truck, which was lifted up to the top of Air Force One. They hid the president in a catering truck parked next to Air Force One, drove him to a nearby Air Force plane where Pete Hegseth flew out on, and they flew him out on a secret plane while the media was on the old Air Force One in a decoy plane. And this smuggling operation that they did with President Trump was fantastical. Now, don't let anybody tell you that the way it's being presented, because they want to humiliate President Trump, is that he was in a catering cart, is what's being reported, kind of like flight attendants have. No, it wasn't a catering cart. They put him actually inside of a truck container. And the media are just pissed off that they were left on the old Air Force One in the decoy plane, like they were a target. And let me.
That's one way.
Well, they shouldn't have leaked the story that Air Force One was vulnerable to rocket attack, to missile attack. The new Air Force, they leaked the story out to put Trump's life in danger, and then they're mad at him because their lives were in danger while he was on a decoy plane with Pete Hegseth.
Another case of what goes around comes around.
But this is the first time I have ever heard a story outside of a movie of a president of the United States being smuggled out of a country because of an assassination threat. Never heard of anything like this. I've heard stories about Kennedy being snuck around so he could have sex with Marilyn Monroe or something, but never a threat. And, this president, each and every day, he literally took a bullet for this country, and he risks his life each and every day doing what's right. And these members of the media, the media, they survived, and they seem to have forgotten this, but the media survived an assassination attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They have been involved in 2 assassination attempts and threats in the last month, and they're mad at him. Maybe they should stop telling everybody he's a Nazi and things like that, and be responsible. But it's a great story. We're going to get more details as the day goes on. You want to take more calls, Steve?
Yes.
All right, let's go. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Rocco from West Palm Beach, former Democrat, former New Yorker.
How about this?
Welcome.
As opposed to a former Democrat, how about this? A recovered Democrat. How about that? It's a condition you've recovered from.
I like it. Recovering Democrat is absolutely fine.
Yes. Anyway, what's on your mind?
Recovering from that.
What's on your mind?
Well, the other caller was talking about how the socialists, the Democrats, and the DSA is using our own Constitution. My question is, socialism goes against our Constitution. Why is it being allowed here in the United States? I understand freedom of speech, but socialism goes against our Constitution. Why are we allowing these socialist pigs to even...
Well, I don't know if it goes against the Constitution. However, what the Democrat Socialists of America have on their platform is treason. They're calling to overthrow the presidency, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. That's an overthrow of the government. That's certainly illegal. That's treason.
When are we going to fight? When are we going to fight this onslaught of these people with these agendas to try to overthrow our government? Why are we not doing
what's going on? Well, there is. The Democrats have joined us in defeating them, and they're going to suffer losses in November. The Democrats are trying to lose the election.
What Brian is saying is hopefully true, but not guaranteed. That's what keeps the suspense in this thing.
Yeah.
How far will it be able to go?
More militant. I want to be more militant.
All right. Well, we're not going to be we're not going to advocate for militancy on this program.
I mean, they're seeing what's going on, and we got to hope that we win when the dust settles.
Yeah.
I don't think it's guaranteed anything. In my opinion, I'm very wary of the internet, and I think that with the internet factor and what's the name of that channel that the only young people watch?
Oh, the one that Hassan Piker's on is Twitch.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of that one. I was thinking of the one that voted
TikTok?
for Trump in the last election.
TikTok?
TikTok,
Yeah.
exactly. You're dealing with young people, especially they're aiming a lot of this at young women, and I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. You're going to get a whole bunch of people who've never voted before, and who knows? They're well financed, and they could create problems.
No, this whole thing with Hassan Piker and Abdul has done so much damage to these Democrat socialists. A lot of damage. I've seen so many Democrats coming out distancing them. Even AOC's distancing from them. So I don't have any worries, none. We're going to do well. That doesn't mean that some of them are not going to win. Some of them are running in districts that are very liberal and even unopposed in New York. So some of them are going to win. But I think that they misread the room. Mamdani got in under some very unusual, bizarre circumstances, and they took Mamdani's win in New York as that the American people want Muslim communists in office. Americans are afraid of Muslims, I think, and they don't want that. But they think they do because they live in this Muslim bubble. And if you look at the breakdown, Steve, in Michigan with Abdul, he didn't win any blacks, any Hispanics. He only won in the Muslim areas and a couple college towns. You can't win a statewide race as a Democrat if you're only winning the Muslim vote and some college kids. It's just not going to fly. He's going to lose.
What you're saying is hopefully true, but I'm not going to believe it until I actually see it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's aimed at a lot of groups that I think are vulnerable to be fooled.
Yeah.
Largely young women. When they get something in place, that John Travolta act that he does with the dancing.
You know what he was doing? He was singing. You're talking about Abdul. He did two videos. One of them was a Whitney Houston song, and he was singing as Whitney Houston. And the way he was sashaying around was very strange. I want to love somebody. And the other one was a female country singer he was doing. He's almost like
not agree that they're aiming at that demographic?
It looked to me like he was a female impersonator in those videos. It was very weird. And then he was talking about how football represents toxic masculinity. It doesn't. He sounds to me. He's not a manly man. He doesn't sound like a man's man to me. The way he was moving his hips in that video, oh my goodness. No, I'm not worried about Abdul. I'm not worried about him. He's a bad guy, though. If I was worried, I would tell you. I'm just not worried. No.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah, well, Well, it's mainly because I see the Democrat reaction. And in Michigan as well. So, no, I just don't see it. But we're about out of time for today. So if you're on hold, we'll be back tomorrow at 6. I'm not going to take any more calls at the end. But if you stay on hold, you'll be first in line on the show tomorrow morning. And we're going to have some results. Mike Lindell's running for governor. His primary is today in Minnesota. He's in the lead by 6 points. I know it's pretty close, so we'll see. So we might wake up tomorrow and find out Mike Lindell is the Republican nominee for governor. But there's 3 people running in that race, and they're on a mission to stop Mike Lindell. So that one's too close to call. But he is endorsed by President Trump, Mike Lindell. So I'd rather him win than some of these others they got around. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, and that if Mike Lindell loses, they'll call that one early. That won't be one you'll have to wait a week for. Right? They'll call that one tonight, like 10 minutes after polls close. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Steve Kane, of course, is here. My name is Brian Craig, and we are live weekday mornings from 6 until 9 a.m. We'll see you first thing tomorrow morning with some election results at 6 a.m. All right, we're clear from the radio. Do you guys understand? Do you understand? I'll throw this out to you guys before I run. Give me and you're welcome to call me here. We're in the post show now. Those of you that are MAGA, yes or no? Are you concerned that Abdul might win? Is Abdul going to win or lose? Yes or no? Is Abdul going to win the general election against Mike Rogers? Yes or no? What do you guys think? I'm saying no. What do you guys think? Not what you want, what you actually think is going to happen. Hassan Piker is like the gift that keeps on giving. But I don't see him winning at all. There's too many Democrats turning against him. Right? There's too many Democrats turning against him. And this is something you don't see. I mean, there are actual Democrats out there who are saying, vote for Mike Rogers. When have you ever seen Democrats say, vote for a Republican like this? I've never seen it happen before. So he's got the Democrats working against him, right? So if he's got the Democrats working against him, how's he going to win? And if the Democrat Party is against him, they're not going to unleash the Democrat Party machine to help him, right? So he has the Democrat establishment against him. That means he doesn't get access to the Democrat Party machine. So he's in trouble. All right, let me take a call or two here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Carla from Fort Worth. Yeah, I was just saying, Carville was on an interview, and he said if he doesn't care, as much as he hates what's going on, he says, I'm still going to vote for him.
Well, he's not in Michigan. Carville doesn't live in Michigan.
No, what I'm saying is that he said he can't stand Mike Rogers because he couldn't accept the 2020 election and some other crap he said.
Mm-hmm.
But, he, in the end, Carville, as much as he, complaining, he said he's still going to vote for this guy.
He said he said a couple days ago that he can't be in the same party as Hassan Piker.
He bullshits though, that guy. But I mean, he says one thing like when he goes on McEnany, he's like that, right? But I just saw him in an interview. He said, when it comes.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that this morning.
He's still going to vote with his own party, regardless if he's.
But he's not voting. He's not voting in that race.
Yeah, but I mean that's what he still thinks. Because he hates Trump to death, and he hates. He said I don't like Mike Rogers because he said some other stuff about him too. But
yeah, they put the screws. They got to James Carville. Somebody got to him.
They got to put money behind Rogers. They got. You look at the campaign.
We're months away. We're months away. Don't worry, they will.
I hope so. I was going to say with the Vindman thing, you're right about Vindman. I think what's his name was wrong, Steve, because I heard about it a couple months ago when you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I live in an area where I don't have to. My ballot is so small that for the primary, it just has like 5 things on it right now. So obviously I'm voting for Donald, and I'll tell you that Fishback, I don't know where he came out of nowhere. I don't know if he reminds me of, he looks Jewish, even though he says he's not.
You know what? Fish Sticks reminds me of these troll, idiot, liberal guys that call me on the program.
Yeah.
Punks.
He does, and he tries to come off, he's Obama-esque. He tries to come off, every time he speaks, he tries to come off. He's not plain speaking like Trump. That's what everybody likes Trump for, because they can understand what the heck he's talking about.
Exactly.
He's trying. I don't like him at all. I saw him on an interview. James O'Keefe took him out on his boat in West Palm Beach.
Who? Fish Sticks?
Yeah, he took him out, and then he took Scott Pressler and another one. So James O'Keefe is doing this series where he takes people out on his sailboat.
See, the thing with Fish Sticks, I did talk about that race because early on, there was a concern. Byron Donalds wasn't campaigning, and Fish Sticks was all over the state doing town halls every day. And that's why I was talking. In the primaries, sometimes you can I was reluctant even to mention that Vindman's running for the Senate on the show this morning, because early voting has started in Florida. So if he wins the primary, I'll be all over that.
Oh, I know. Wait a minute. How did he become a resident of Florida? How long has he been a resident of Florida?
He's lived here for a couple years. I guess he retired here. He lives in Broward. I was shocked when I found out Colonel Vindman lived here.
Yeah, because I remember you about 3 months ago you mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't. This is my town. And it's creepy that he lives down here.
Oh, Yeah, see now Byron Donald, I live closer to. I live in a county that it's very red, very. Charlotte County is pretty red. It's almost like Martin County.
Yeah.
So we don't have all the stuff that goes on like Broward County. I know you got that Raymond Noodles lady who's trying to run against all those black people. She's trying to change her district. Oh, I can't.
Oh, you're talking about Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Oh, what an ugly son.
Well, there's another thing too. By the way, thanks for the call. I appreciate the call. There's another. I wanted to share this article. I didn't get to this on the show today, but I'm going to share with you now. This is, we're talking about Abdul and the Muslims. Look at this. This is a new poll. This is in the Post-Millennial. 44% of Muslims in America support Hamas. Now, Hamas is a terror group, right? That's Hamas is a terrorist group. So we've been fighting, and that's who was behind October 7th, backed by Iran. Hamas is an Iranian front group. So the new poll says 44% of Muslims in America support Hamas. Well, the number's higher because a lot of them are smart enough to lie and say they don't, right? And these are all more reasons not to vote for Ahmed. And what they do is, so you don't talk about them, they want to call you racist or Islamophobe and all these things. Don't cower to that because that's not the case. And this is CNN. This is a segment on CNN last night. They were talking about Hong, who's the Democrat socialist that's running for governor in Wisconsin.
There were people like Francesca Hong who adapted to a lot of that rhetoric.
Oh, hold on. Let me cue this up for you guys. Okay, make sure I got the right. Give me a second here. Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, this is CNN on Hong.
There were people like Francesca Hong who adapted to a lot of that rhetoric and fully believe it, and she's leading a campaign with that as her values. I think Francesca Hong is a deeply unserious person. I think we've all but lost Wisconsin if she wins this primary over David Crowley. I sincerely hope people in Wisconsin choose differently. But I don't, to be clear.
See, now this girl here, she's a Democrat who's arguing against the Democrat socialists. See what I mean about how the Democrats are working with us to defeat them?
She is a reflection of the way we're laughing now, but this is the way a lot of people were talking. White women were apologizing to me about their own whiteness.
Oh my goodness.
Saying her proximity to whiteness and her biracial son makes her uncomfortable. Quite frankly, if we take that and put it in 2019, it all kind of gels and fits together.
Which is why it's so ironic to hear AOC talk about woke 1.0 as if number one, she wasn't a part of it when she obviously was trying to rewrite history. But woke 2.0 is just as bad. They've maybe adapted some of the language that they use, and they've adopted some of the really easy strategic media moves to say, so I've evolved from that position. The question then becomes, for anyone who says woke 1.0 was crazy, okay, tell us what specifically. Tell us
Yes. Exactly. See, there's this whole, and you can see the Democrat, she's not happy because they're trying to do a pivot and rebrand themselves as reasonable Democrats, and that's just not what they are. This is, look at these Democrats, okay? The woman here is the co-chairperson of the Democrat Socialist of America. She's being interviewed by this white guy. Look how this guy's dressed. Look at this. What has happened to Democrats? He's wearing Muslim clothing with a nose ring. These people are crazy, and she's the co-chair of the Democrat Socialist of America.
What else did you learn about the PTB, their goals, their theory of change, and any obstacles that they kind of come across in their recent, 10 to 15 year turn?
Yeah,
And this hat that he's wearing, like he's Michael Nesmith in the Monkees. What ridiculous.
Again, some of the similar struggles that we have, their membership, they're open about, it's like we have the problem, it's sort of downwardly mobile, disproportionately educated compared to the general population, disproportionately white, disproportionately, so similar.
What else?
See, they like this thing here. She thinks they're too white, but she's bragging that they're the educated people, and they think because they have college degrees that they're somehow better and smarter. They've gone to college to be brainwashed. They went to re-education centers and had their minds washed with all this liberal crap. This is CNN talking about Trump's escape from Turkey last time. By the way, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you all could please like the video, if you've not already done it, make sure you like the video, okay? And when you like the video, you get the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So please like, you know, I'm not against education. I have a college degree, but I went to college as an adult, okay? So my mind could not be wiped and washed by liberal college professors because I knew what was going on already. But they get these kids right out of high school, they don't know what's going on, and they brainwash them. All right, so here's CNN talking about President Trump's escape from Turkey in the catering truck.
The reason we're all sitting here discussing this is because of fantastic reporting from the Washington Post.
The Washington Post leaked that the Iranians not only were going to shoot down Air Force One, but that the new Air Force One couldn't dodge their missiles. That's not good, okay? But this guy's an Irish traitor.
The reason we're all sitting here discussing this is because of fantastic reporting from the Washington Post, then recently seconded by the New York Times, in the context of the Trump administration subpoenaing previous journalists from the New York Times who had reported on the Qatari jet. So the fact that we all know this now, it's a bizarre story. It doesn't particularly inspire me with confidence that the President of the United States is hiding in a catering truck. But I do think it's worth paying tribute to our journalistic colleagues who have actually brought this up.
Oh my goodness. Can you believe this? Yeah, they're upset that he escaped. You know, and that guy, he might be Irish, but he's a White House correspondent, and his White House press credentials should be stripped from him. I don't trust that guy. Here's Anderson Cooper talking about the president's escape through the catering truck. I mean, it had to be pretty serious for them to do that. Now, at this point, the president already knows what's happening. They have the catering truck ready. He's going in the front door and then to the catering truck. No, it was not. Now, see, in this video that I'm showing, that circle, the catering truck's on the other side of Air Force One, and then it lifts up. It's a full-size container, the size of a trailer on a truck that he walked into. See, there it is. Yeah, and the press, they're so stupid. You know, here the press are getting off on the plane that the president's getting off of, and they didn't even know it. And see, here you can see, this is the container. They want to try to make you think that he got in a little catering cart like the flight attendants have. That's not what happened. And this is a container. Now, what I'm curious about is he had to walk across this gangway, which was just a couple of steps. But from the other side of Air Force One, did they disguise him there? I don't know. Yeah, it goes on, and they're so ticked off that he escaped. It just pisses them off, and they're so stupid. They had no idea during the entire flight that he was not on the plane. They had no idea. It really tells you how dumb they are. How could they not know that the president was not on the flight? You know why they didn't know? Because they're Democrats. Now, this is crazy. Here's a Democrat Socialist of America person. She does this TV interview. You know, she's all about, let me cue this up. Okay, let me pull this up. This is hilarious. I tell you, these Democrat Socialists of America, they have these, this is when AOC says woke one was crazy. They're still promoting the crazy. Democrat Socialist of America member has no answer when asked what we will do with rapists after prisons are abolished. Listen.
So if my daughter is assaulted and raped, is there any agency that would seek to find her assailant and bring him to justice?
Of course, yeah, of course.
What would
absolutely.
it be if not police, and where would he be if not a jail?
So,
Mm.
I really want to avoid getting kind of caught into these hypotheticals and talk more about the reality that we're actually facing right now, which is that we're spending absolutely outrageous amounts of money on police and policing, and we're not spending money on things that actually make people safe.
Oh, yeah, like police make people safe. And, you know, these sex criminals cannot be rehabilitated. You know, you talk to anyone who works in law enforcement, who polices sex offenders, okay? And they are, they all reoffend. They all go back and they reoffend, and that's just what it is that they do. And they can't help themselves. You know, they can't control themselves. And the only way you can stop them is by putting them in prison. Now, again, if you're new to the program, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And I'm live every morning of the week, okay? All 7 days. I'm here on the weekends and during the week. And most afternoons, too. And anytime I'm in the studio, I'm taking live calls like you've heard me do today. So if you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk, but all opinions are welcome. So if you're new to the program, make sure that you subscribe, okay, and click that notification bell. You will most definitely enjoy this program, and you're all welcome to call in. All opinions are always welcome. Now, let me cue this up. Laura Loomer is really on this. Let me play the first clip. This was completely insane. This is Tucker Carlson, who had Hunter on his podcast yesterday talking about the laptop.
What's your first thought? Laptop. You know, and can I just say one thing though? That this is what I experienced during that time. The allegation that there was abuse of minors, on the laptop, that came from the Israelis.
By the way, I never heard anything about minors on the laptop until now.
I'm just telling you that. They came to me with that, so I know that. And one of the things that enraged me about the statement from those sleazy intel guys is that they blame the Russians for it. Now, maybe the Russians had a hand in it, but it was the Israelis who were pushing that. Fact. I mean, literally to me. Yeah. So, and you've gone through it, but they're all...
See, now look, Tucker is going with this false narrative that it was a foreign government, a foreign intelligence agency. He's blaming Israel because he blames the Jews for everything. We're behind the laptop. Nothing could be. It was that computer guy, and it happened. It's just the way it was. And now here he is deflecting. So Laura Loomer had an update. Let me pull this up. So why is Tucker saying that the laptop is Israeli misinformation, right? And she has a very long post about this with the documents. This is Laura Loomer. She says Tucker Carlson is literally in the Hunter Biden laptop, and she's got all kinds of things here, right? He was involved in some investments, some favors that Hunter did for him to help his kid get a recommendation for college. She has everything here in the documents. And I've been disappointed in Tucker for a long time, no doubt about it. But what kind of person associates with Tucker Carlson? I mean, what kind of person associates with Hunter Biden and Tucker Carlson here? Let me tell you, any man out there who's married, what would your wife say if you were hanging out and getting favors and things and associating with someone like Hunter Biden? I don't know a good wife out there who would not have a problem with it. And it's very disappointing to me that Tucker is blaming Israel for the laptop. The person to blame for the laptop is Hunter Biden himself, okay? And it's all factual, what's in that laptop. and everybody knows this. And Tucker Carlson, he is really a low-life guy, isn't he? He certainly is, and he's done permanent damage to himself that he'll never recover from. Well, listen, guys, catch me this afternoon. Again, make sure you subscribe if you're new, and please don't go without liking the video. When you like the video, you get the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So please take a moment before you go to like the video.